The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is afternoon NFL football Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, and the show begins right now. I couldn't hear it while I was speaking. I could not hear it. That's just shout out to Twine. Shout out to me for being able to. I am pumped about me there because every time I speak, I can't hear the background music, so I couldn't hear the music in there. The fact that we hit the beat drop right on time means this is going to be a great Wednesday. We got Kirk Cousins joining us today in about 20 minutes. If I die, I die. I cannot wait to chat with him. This will be the first time I've ever talked to him ever. Not real life. Social media. Now we're going right. I cannot wait to chat with this man. Last year, primetime Kirk Cousins was born and down in Jerry World when they got a big win. Then he beats the Saints in the playoff. Kyle Rudolph just shoved the guy and scored a touchdown to beat the Saints down there. They inevitably lose in the NFC playoffs, but they had a hell of a run this year. Are they getting hot right now? They can still make a go and have a go at this thing, especially with the way the NFL is potentially shaping out to have a 16-team playoff if the COVID continues to run wild on the NFL. Speaking of running wild on the NFL, we have a Pittsburgh Steeler, Baltimore Raven matchup in Pittsburgh at 3:40 p.m. today. This show is a beautiful kickoff show for that. We'll have Mark Schlereth joining us in the third hour, AJ Hawk. Your phone call is 1-888 Mad Dog 6 on the line here at Sirius XM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. At Tone Diggs, diehard Steelers fan, always have been. 3:40 game, playing the Ravens, 10-point favorites. How do you feel going into this thing as a Steelers fan?
I just can't wait to get this godforsaken game over with. I mean, it's been a long, treacherous week waiting for this game. I know it's a lose-lose again for the Steelers. If they don't win by 40, everyone's going to talk about how worst undefeated team of all time. They still haven't played any bloody fucking blah. Who cares? 11-0. We'll move on to next week. I mean, they're sitting out Dobbins and Ingram so that they could have more excuses as to why it wasn't a close game. I can't wait to be done with the fucking Ravens.
Okay, so it's interesting that you think that because I wonder if the Steelers players are thinking that as well. Like, this game's supposed to be Thursday, Sunday, Monday. Now we're on Wednesday. We're at 3:40 because the goddamn Christmas tree has to get lit over there in New York. I mean, the players for the Steelers, they have to be fed up with this as well, by the way. And after they play this game at 3:40, they're right back to work tomorrow because they have a game on Monday. I mean, it's a very interesting – if you try to dig into the mind of the Steelers players at this point, I feel like they probably feel the exact same way you do as like, all right, we got to – let's just get this goddamn game over with at this point. But they're playing against a team that is no joke. In the Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers always play a good game. Mm-hmm. Harbaugh's going to have the boys ready. Tomlin, I assume, is going to have the boys ready. There's been a lot of adversity in both of these camps coming into this Wednesday 3:40 game, and I am excited for it. I like a good afternoon game, especially because NXT is tonight, and there was no thought of Roger Goodell wanting to go head-to-head with WWE NXT USA Network channel USA Network, 8 o'clock. 3:40 game on a Wednesday at Boston Connor. How do you feel about this? This is something I feel like is probably right down your lane here because you're never going to be a guy that's going to have a 9-to-5 job. So mid-afternoon might as well be 7 p.m. anyways. Right?
I cannot wait, Pat. This 3:40 game.
Oh, my God. You look fucking absurd. Hold on. For those that aren't watching and only listening, this is the most absurd I've seen this guy look in a long, long time. He has the dumbest glasses I've ever seen in my entire life on his face, but he is wearing a Pittsburgh hat. Does that mean you're pulling for the Steelers? And tell me more about this 3:40 game, pal.
Yeah, I'm pulling for the Steelers. The Ravens are out here disrespecting the Shield. If you're pulling for the Ravens and you live outside Baltimore, do you even care about the NFL? And let's remember, Timmy the Arrow Pelissaro told us yesterday, this isn't just a 3:40 game on a Wednesday that's never going to happen again, people. people, this is a test run. We might be having 340 Wednesday games 5 years from now. And when you're 5 years from now, 10 years from now, watching football on a Wednesday, you're going to think back to this Ravens-Steelers game. The game that you'll never forget. That was the first kickoff ever at Wednesday at a 340. And we're going to love every single second of it, Pat.
Okay, I like that. I will love every single second of it. I am pumped up about your enthusiasm about it, and even predicting that 10 years down the road, this is going to be a normal thing. I'll be intrigued to see how they'll make this work because with games being on Sundays, the turnaround for a Wednesday game would be very difficult. So the schedule makers, maybe you go Thursday night football game into a Wednesday game into your bye week after that. Ooh. That's the only way it would really be able to work because whenever we're talking about Wednesday games and Thursday games. And the reason why we're here is because players' health is paramount. It's like, well, Wednesday games are not good for players' health. I mean, there's not a lot of turnaround time there. Who knows what's going to happen after Sunday games, especially later in the season. So if this does become something that is the norm moving forward, and I'm not saying every single week, but you could take one of those shitty games that happen at 1 o'clock on Sunday that kind of get buried in the thing, move it to Wednesday in the afternoon, maybe. Yep. I think a lot of us will appreciate it. Maybe a lot of people who are working from home, maybe for the next 5 years, because that's the world we're living in, will appreciate it. I think you're onto something a little bit, Connor. I do believe what the Arrow Pelissero told us about the NFL, watching this, seeing how it goes, will be good. But this is a primetime game that's happening at 3:40. Oh, yeah. I don't know if the NFL is going to continue to put two top teams in their division in the middle of the week, but I'll be intrigued to see how the ratings do. And at Ty Schmidt, we know that the Baltimore Ravens have a guy that moves the needle playing quarterback over there. How do you think RG Triple Stick's return to stardom is going to go?
Yeah, I mean, this just feels like a Bob Griffin Triple Sticks kind of night. You mentioned it, 340 game. He loved those in Waco at Baylor. I mean, he thrived in those. If he goes out there and lights up the scoreboard tonight, you have to maybe even wonder, like, hey, do the Ravens put Lamar Jackson on ice and stick with Triple Sticks here down the stretch run, as they make a push towards the playoffs? Yeah,
because, RG, Bob Griffin Triple Sticks, as you call him, obviously, Ty, we're one of the biggest, most supportive groups of Robert Griffin III, I think, maybe in the country, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We're big RG3 fans. We have an entire tribute to his statue down there in Waco that Foxy put together. He came out, and by the way, can't wait to talk to Kirk Cousins about him because those two obviously will forever be tied at the hip for what happened over there in Washington, which was a wild decision. You trade your entire franchise's draft capital basically for the next 5 years to draft a quarterback, and then you have one other pick basically a couple rounds later. You're like, let's get another quarterback to make this whole thing a fucking controversy. That is, and now that we're learning more and more about the way that building operates, it's like par for the course there. That's just the way it goes. But you didn't really set either of them up for success, I don't think. And RG early in the year said he's tired of being a backup or whatever. So this is a chance. I mean, it's not prime time, obviously, but it's the only game in town, only show in town. I assume it's going to do well ratings-wise. Oh, yeah. He's got 0 starting running backs. Who knows? Any other 12 players are going to be out in total. Well, I guess you add the 2 running backs. That's 14 players going to be out in total for your team, and good players as well. If he gets a win somehow, maybe they build him a statue in Baltimore, just like they have it down there in Waco, Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit later, but it seems like his over-under totals are criminally low. I mean, I really do think Bob Griffin Triple Six is going to go out there tonight and surprise some people with, limited weapons.
Zito, why don't you pull that up there? The over-under for Robert Griffin III's passing yards is 165.5 yards. Jeez. Now, that is like a high school number there. This is just like 36.5 for that Broncos-Saints game, where if you see the over-under for points at 36.5 in an NFL game, you have to bet the over just out of respect for the goddamn league. I think out of respect for an NFL quarterback here, you have to bet the over on this. This might be my bet of the day, baby. Maybe. You got a great defense he's playing against, but I'm not sure he's going to run as much as they had RG3 or as Lamar Jackson running. I think he's going to throw the ball more. And I think if you go back to some preseason games where he was throwing the ball, he's slinging it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a video on the internet of him hitting a goddamn palm tree right square. And palm trees, by the way, not very wide base. This ain't a goddamn redwood. This is a palm tree. He was just as accurate as possible. 165.5 over for Robert Griffin III is probably the bet I'm going to go with because 10.5 points is a lot. Speaking of bets, we have a guy from Canada who still talks about weather in Celsius or something like that. He has a bunch of nukes for tonight's game. Gumpy, what are your thoughts on this game? What are the trends saying? 10.5, 10 points feels like it's a lot. What should people be leaning whenever they're thinking about betting on this thing?
Triple Sticks is 0-2 against the spread when he spreads higher than 10, Pat. He's 19-22 against the spread as a starter, but I don't like the number here. I'm thinking about the under.
Oh.
The under is 7-2 in Ravens' last 9 against the AFC, 5-2 the Ravens' last 7 road games, and 7-3-1 in the Steelers' last 11 against the AFC North.
Get down. Hey, those are some Gumpy nukes right there out of Canada. The under feels right. The over on RG3's passing yards feels good. That 10 number, it's almost like the sports books don't want people to bet on the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like hey, stay away from this. We're going to make this thing so ridiculous. You just need to stay away from it. I'd assume a lot of money's coming in on Baltimore, Diggs. Is that where the money's coming in? Because if you're getting 10.5 points in any NFL game, that's a lot of fucking points. Now, this has been a weekend of blowouts. Okay, there's been a lot of big spreads that backdoor covers have come down in the end and just kind of sliced. Buccaneers did it. Philadelphia Eagles did it, obviously. You know who couldn't do it? The goddamn Chargers, because Anthony Lynn doesn't know what he's doing down there with Herbert. But there's been a lot of backdoor covers on these big spreads this weekend. Will that trend continue? Where's the money at right now, Diggs?
Pat, 72% of the money is on the Steelers.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I do want to let you know, because this situation happened in the final week of last year. RG3 was the starter, and Gus Edwards was the starter against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gus Edwards ran for 130 yards, and RG3 threw for 96.
Oh, shit.
Different triple sticks back then.
Different triple
That
sticks.
was a backup triple sticks. That was
before Robert Griffin came out and said he wanted to be a starter.
That's right.
Still the last quarterback to ever beat the Steelers.
Man, I don't know what I'm fucking. I just got put into a full pretzel there.
Triple sticks.
Obviously, I'm down here in Orlando, Florida, so the boys and I don't get a chance to have our full conversations before the shows. So a lot of things are kind of hitting me sideways right now, especially that RG3 is the last one to beat the Steelers as a starting quarterback, which is wild. And 3:40 game time, a lot of players out. You have no idea what to expect. 72% of the money's on the Steelers just to beat the shit out of the Ravens, which is wild because I think those people don't fully know. And if you're going on FanDuel, you see the undefeated Steelers team that has a defense that is unbelievable. Ben Roethlisberger back in his game. He's got a brand new elbow. He's not doing things off the field. We know we don't have to mention it, but you guys know what I'm referring to there. And then you see that the Ravens, they've been battling COVID, obviously. They haven't had a lot of practices, and they got a lot of the players out. I think it's the easy thing to do is say, hey, the Steelers are just going to blow them out here. But this is NFL football. This is AFC North football. This is not the way I don't think it's going to go. I might be wrong, but I feel like, and if you look at the way the sports books have been going, if 72% of the money's on one side, you might as well just fucking guarantee the other side's going to win with that. You might as well guarantee that that's going to happen with the way things have been going. But I have no idea how this game's going to go. I'm very scared to bet it at all. So the under feels good. RG3 over 160-some feels good, even though he only threw for 96 fucking yards. How do you even do that? It's like he's that Keegan kid out there.
He was 11 of 21 for 96 yards.
He missed a few.
Yeah.
Fucking 11 balls. He completed 11 passes and only had 96 yards. What? Every time the person caught it, they just fell to the ground. Like how does this even? What are they doing?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like the Ravens' offense has been predictable, as Lamar Jackson has said, and now you bring in Bob Griffin triple sticks. The whole offense is different. Yeah, the Steelers aren't really going to know what they're running, so kind of again advantage Ravens.
Well, I think the big thing too, if we go back to our conversation with T.J. Watt, is the leader of that defense. We were told that by Bob Spokane, too, who brings the wood at linebacker.
Bobby.
Bob, he's a good guy. Good conversation. Massive neck. Just you can tell that he is trying to potentially break helmets with his head whenever he's tackling people with how much he does his neck and everything like that. T.J. Watt told us whenever he was on the show that some nights he sits at home with his eyes closed and just listens to the game. Listens to the quarterback, his cadence, so he can get a good jump. Listens to the audibles, and Bob Spokane said during games, TJ's even like, "Hey, do this. This is going to happen. This is going to go here," and it has been working for that Steelers defense. Unbelievable defense. But with Bob, to your guys' point, there ain't no goddamn games to listen to from Bob Griffin. There is no audibles you've heard him say. Now, granted, Lamar might be doing a thing, but the predictable offense is no longer as predictable because I don't think any of us have a clue what the fuck old Bob Griffin's going to do tonight. I don't think any of us know, but I got faith in the guy. He has a statue for a goddamn reason. I like the over on that bet. I'm very thankful for Bob Griffin making us money and getting us back on the right side. And the under, what is the over-under at, Gump?
42.5.
All right. Well, let's get to a break. We got Kirk Cousins on the other side. They asked if we could go a little bit earlier. We're supposed to be at 12:25. He wants to go at 12:20. It's like, yo, let's do it. Cannot wait, by the way, to chat to Kirk Cousins. Let's get to a break. I don't know if the music's playing or not because I can't.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. I just kind of have to stop talking to hear it. Which is a little bit tough. Big Wednesday, December 2nd. I'm down here in Orlando, Florida at the WWE Performance Center. Got my heart checked before the show started here and all my vitals. Yeah, I'm still alive. I don't know if I passed the physical.
Yeah.
On the other side, we got Kirk Cousins. Be a friend, tell a friend. Can't wait to chat with him. We'll see you on the other side. You got about 4 minutes. Cheers.
I'd also potentially taken over their 30 edibles because I thought more teammates of mine were going to want to indulge in that either before the game or after the game. And to get to London, you go through your own TSA here. The team has TSA that you have to check in. Here's my passport. The Colts already have it. They took it all from everybody. It's literally you get your bags checked and then you're through. Put them in a little thing. We're good to go. It's team's TSA. Get on the bus, fly over there. I forgot all about them. Didn't utilize them at all because how things quickly changed.
Right.
After we lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're on the team bus. They go, hey, we're going through Heathrow Airport through the real-life TSA. And at that moment, I look around. I go, oh, no. I have some things in my bag right now that have vitamins in them. I have to get rid of them. And at that point, I'd whittled it down to like 15 of them. And I look at Vinatieri, and I'm like, buddy, not good. He's like, what are you going to do? I was like, I guess I'm just going to throw them away in here. Couldn't do that because right next to the trash can was an English police officer. So I couldn't just walk up and dump a bunch of edibles into the thing next to the guy. He's going to ask questions. We're going to the Heathrow Airport. Now I got to do what I got to do. We finally get there. Police escorts, a lot going on. So I just take down 13 edibles.
Yikes.
See you later. Vinatieri looks at me and goes, how you doing, bub? I was like, good now, but things are about to happen. He goes, I got you, little buddy. I'm like, thank you. So we go through the little check-in thing. And right before we get to the scan of the bags thing, it all hits me. I might as well have been on Cloud 45 over there in London. They check my bag, boom, boom, boom. I get selected. Something was in my bag. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, did I leave a couple in there? Oh my God. Vinatieri starts walking ahead. He turns around. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, they got my bag, man. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. So he comes and stands with me. He's like, I got you, bub. I was like, they might got me, for real. I might be staying the night in England. They go through my bag. Turns out, had a vibrating toothbrush. Thing was vibrating in my bag.
Yep.
They're like, oh, it must have been this. Or it must have been my big-ass toothpaste because you can't fly with that. I was like, you got it, pal. I get all the way back to the plane. Lost my ticket somewhere. Somehow I don't have a ticket. So now I got to check into the gate people that I don't have a ticket. I'm like, I'm on this plane. I promise I am, but I don't have a ticket. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Patrick McAfee. McAfee? No, yeah, whatever you want to call me. I just need a ticket. So now I have to sit there and wait as somebody brings me a ticket from the front while my entire team walks by me, knowing that I'm on Cloud 50, just having a good time. Grigson walks by, just upset, obviously. I wish he would have known that I was in a mood where he should have talked to me there. It was just a nightmare. The London trip for me from beginning to end was not good, and I think that happens for a lot of NFL players.
Double cup on the scene, on my grind with the team going up. I've been hustling like every day, doing time on the grind, trying to make a pay. Hey, I'm still posted on the same block, same hood, still ducking from the same cops. I try hard, but the life that I live, man, ain't all it seeming. Sometimes I pray to God I'm dreaming, but I ain't. Try to get out, but I can't. Damn. I'm trying to figure it out. They wanna win, but they don't wanna play.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. We're being joined now by a man who is not only a Michigan State legend, I believe we golfed on the same golf course that he plays on a pretty regular basis. What are you saying, Zito?
They're still trying to gather him. I see a thumb on the screen.
Like a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Legit like a finger, so they're trying to like transfer the phone over. I didn't want to stop you midway, but
is it like this? Like they're just like holding the thumb? Like
now I'm seeing chin. They're walking around the room. I could show you the screen if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yep. Hold on,
This show's the best, dude.
This show is the worst, dude. By the way, everything that's happening right now does not take back what I was starting to say there. Michigan State legend.
Yeah.
Okay, absolute Michigan State legend. A man who last year, a whole new version of himself was completely born down in Jerry World. Got a massive monkey off of his back down there, and then goes and wins a playoff game down in New Orleans last year. Just got a big win over the Carolina Panthers without Adam Thielen, who we hope survives, obviously, because he ended up on the COVID thing. What's that? Now he's back. Thielen's off the list. Yeah, Thielen's back. Are they on, Zito?
Yeah, he's good now.
Ladies and gentlemen, two-time Pro Bowler Kirk Cousins. Kirk, how's it going, man?
Doing well. Thanks for the warm welcome.
Well, I wanted to give you a full-on, like I was ready to rattle. Like I was ready to go, I was ready to go. And then I heard from our guy who's handling the phone call with you. He's like, well, it's just a thumb on the phone right now, so we don't know if it's Kirk yet. So I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to fully go through a full one there because it's your first time on the show. You deserve it. So I apologize for that, but thank you for joining us, man.
No, I appreciate your hospitality. Glad to be here.
Kirk, there's so many things I want to talk to you about, okay? And I don't know how much time you have. We'll try to make it as quick as possible because you're a working man here, and it's a Wednesday, big work Wednesday in the NFL. I completely understand that. Whenever you said, if I die this offseason, I want to let you know this show here was one that was like, that's okay. Okay, Kirk. Now I know that that's potentially because of how comfortable you are in your religious sense and everything that you've kind of come to accept or whatever, but you caught a lot of hell for that thing. And I asked Thielen about it. I was like, what do we not know about Kirk Cousins you think that that should be known? And he was like, yeah, you're a super competitive guy, super fiery guy, great leader in there and everything like that. Kirk, I just want to let you know, it's been an honor to kind of learn about you more and more because I feel like you're kind of an enigma. I don't know if you know, you're kind of an enigma whenever it comes to outside people that don't know you.
Well, hopefully being here with you, we can start to kind of unwrap who I really am. But, I got a lot I want to talk to you about. So, first of all, I see you make some T-shirts. If I die, I die. I hope some way or another I'm going to be getting royalties from those. Everybody look into that. But even if I don't, you need to send those to our offensive linemen because our offensive linemen are deeply upset with you that a T-shirt gets made about me and they don't get one. So if nothing else, we want those T-shirts sent to our building so our linemen can wear them.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So every dollar that we've made from the If I Die, I Die shirts, we'll donate to the Julian Kirk Cousins Foundation, and we will send some over to the big boys over there. Now, I don't know how large they are. It is tough to get some sizes in this merch world that we're in with 2020. Everything's shut down, you know what I mean? But we will send some over there. The shirt's one of the crowd favorites, by the way.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully then we can get some 2Xs, some 3Xs, some 4Xs, and take care of our guys. But I also got something I got to ask you. My college roommate Aaron Bates was a punter at Michigan State. He's also a trick play extraordinaire. But I believe that he visited West Virginia when you were the punter there. Didn't end up going to West Virginia. But I don't know if you remember Aaron. I just had to ask. Do you remember Aaron Bates at all? Because he was a big fan of yours.
He went on a visit there?
He went on a visit. He's from Southeast Ohio, so he was close to West Virginia. But I just had to shout out his name. He was my college roommate for 4 years. And go when you get off the show, go do a little research on Aaron Bates. I think you'll see some good stuff come up. You'll be proud of him as a punter.
So you were roommates with the punter for 4 years at Michigan State? Because you're a Michigan State legend, by the way. And I know you're from that area, I believe. We were up in there golfing. I didn't know you were roommates with the punter. That makes If I Die, I Die. Primetime Kirk last year gets big win in Jerry World, wins a playoff game. Now you're roommates with the punter for 4 years in college. Kirk Cousins, I'll tell you what, this is awesome to learn about from you, sir.
So my roommate, all he would do is he'd walk around the dorm room and he'd just do drops. And he'd just drop the ball. I'm trying to watch SportsCenter, and it's just drop after drop. And we've got our kid who lives below us with a broom hitting the ceiling saying, stop doing drops at 10 at night. I'm trying to sleep. And my roommate, Aaron, looked at me and said, if this kid wants a good punter for his football team, he's going to have to deal with this. This is a sacrifice to help us win.
Well, that's a big deal. The drop is literally all that matters. And I respect Aaron Bates, not only being a Southeast Ohio guy. I hope we had a good time. I assume we did on the visits. I can't believe we didn't land him, though. He went to Michigan State. I thought I had 100% land rate if we did a visit together, to be honest with you. There's some big names that I got to West Virginia. I think I was part of the cruise that hosted them.
I think Stanchek might have been his host, so maybe that was the problem.
Oh, we had a good time. You know Stanchek? Do you know Ryan Stanchek as well?
I don't, but Aaron did, and he had some good stories.
Morgantown was a wild place. The drops at 10 o'clock at night were not happening. I don't know if anybody I had in Morgantown was a wild time. Let's talk about you a little bit, Kirk. And I can't thank you enough for joining us here. And I can't wait to talk about the cereal, too, the Cousins Cinnamon Snaps. We'll get to that at the end because that is super cool. And it seems like something that makes me like you even more, super relatable. Somebody that eats cereal. I've learned a lot about you just from all that stuff. Whenever you got drafted to the Washington football team now, and the situation was what it was, right? They traded 75 picks to get RG triple sticks in there. You're drafted the same exact year, but everybody behind the scenes basically said that you just want to work every single day. Just want to work every single day, dial it in, no matter what happens. There was a lot of potential extra stuff happening with RG3, whether he was trying to learn how to be a professional or whatever rumors were happening, and you just were kind of this constant. And then you get a chance to kind of play and go there. Was the beginning of your NFL career over there obviously something you couldn't have predicted, but did it help you at all in handling maybe adversity or situations that could pop up in this league at all?
Yeah, I think it taught me that this pro career is more of a marathon than a sprint. And, it's great if you can get out to early success. I think that's better than not. But you also got to understand that, the challenge in pro football is that sustained success and that consistency. And so for me, I just kind of tried to take the long view and said, I just got to keep working every day, kind of stack days on top of each other, and believe that if I'm good enough, I'll get a chance somewhere, some way, somehow down the road. And if I'm not good enough, I got to live with that and be self-aware and realize that maybe I'm not good enough. But, wasn't in a hurry to make it all happen. And I think as time proves and as we look back, that was certainly the right approach.
And all this has come out about the way that organization was run from top to bottom, obviously, and there's a player is not going to know about the way things are being handled in the front office. So that would be a very dumb thing to talk to you about because that's way over your head whenever you're over there. But you get franchise tagged over there, and then you get to your free agency. And I remember how big of a deal it was for all other players to see the way you negotiated your deal. And I think there were some cameras on you at the time. I think the Jets made you an offer. It was fully guaranteed. And then the Vikings come in with a fully guaranteed. And I thought you were going to change the way deals were done forever. I was like super pumped. I'm like, Kirk Cousins just made a play for players forever. Now, has it completely gone that way? No. But the way you handled it, I think a lot of players saw and had a lot of respect for. What led to that type of negotiation or idea behind the business side of it? Is that just something you saw and wanted to do? Did you have a team around you that was thinking about it? What was it?
Honestly, it goes back to my agent, Mike McCartney. Mike, it was his idea, and it was his idea before I was ever franchise tagged back at the start of 2016 after I finished up my 2015 season. He said, I have a vision for a contract to be fully guaranteed, kind of explained it to me. And I said, great. I play football. You can handle the business. And then that was kind of a long journey of the 2 franchise tags and then eventually going to free agency and then seeing that contract, which he had a vision for, come to fruition. But it was kind of a 2-3 year journey to get there. And, it's not what other quarterbacks have since done, but it worked for us. And honestly, most importantly is, that you're with a team, with an organization that you feel really good about. And I've really enjoyed my last 2.5 seasons here in Minnesota and just thrilled that it all worked out.
Last year, a lot of success, obviously, playoff win and everything like that. Now, you said you're self-aware, and I assume you don't live, like in a hole or under a rock or whatever. The conversation about the big game, the primetime game, blah, blah, blah. It was deafening at points. I mean, it was very loud. Like, no matter what you did, even if you had a great game, it was like, 1 o'clock game, doesn't matter. And then you go into a big game, you have a great game, team loses because you don't play on the defensive side of the ball or in the special team side. And it was like, well, Kirk Cousins can't win it. Then last year down in Jerry World, primetime Kirk Cousins was born. Then you get that New Orleans Saints playoff win with Kyle Rudolph shoving that guy into the first row of the stands and then catching the ball. But it doesn't matter how you win. Hey, you win, you win. It doesn't matter. New Orleans Saints fans won't say that, but however you want to win. Was that something you heard? And as a human, was it a massive relief to kind of get that monkey off your back and be like, okay, now that that's done, I can't wait to move forward? Or are you so laser focused that didn't even affect you?
Well, you can't bury your head in the ground. You're still going to hear things. And I guess where I took comfort and didn't let it eat at me too much was in a lot of those games we lost, and you kind of mentioned it, I felt like I was playing good football, and I felt like I was getting better. I felt like I was improving. And I just believe that if I kind of kept at it, kept playing well, that eventually, the odds are we're going to start winning these games. And last year we were able to win, the game in Dallas, the playoff game. And then you just try to build on it, and this year, we're hovering right around 500. So it's not like suddenly everything clicked and we're undefeated. But I do believe that I'm still, getting better as a quarterback, and that, that's really where I kind of take comfort. And the narratives will be what they are, and that's fine. And it kind of changes week to week depending on how well you played your latest game. And just try not to ride the roller coaster too much and just focus on getting better.
Kyle Rudolph just shoved that guy. Did you tell him to do that? Did you tell him to...
He's very smart as a player. So if he did shove him, he's only going to shove him in a way that the ref will never be able to tell. He's so crafty, and I wasn't expecting a flag there by any means.
Let's talk about crafty athlete Adam Thielen. Let's talk about sneaky athlete, lunch pail guy, first one in, last one out, coach's son, high motor Adam Thielen. What is you guys have had an incredible relationship. You guys on the field, and we'll talk about Justin Jefferson being this phenom basically in the entire thing coming in this year. But Adam Thielen was out last week. You guys still get a win. He has survived COVID, so I do believe he had the same mindset. If I die, I die. He has survived it, which I'm no scientist, but I do believe 100% recovery rate in the NFL thus far. That is good news. But Thielen's back. What has it been like? Because Thielen's story at this point. I think we all do. He had to pay to go to a regional combine. He had to pay to work out, okay? And then he finds his way on a team, and he comes out of nowhere. What has it been like kind of building that rapport with him, kind of watching him go to work and obviously get paid off for his incredible story that has been?
Yeah, when I got to Minnesota at the start of 2018, and he was already a Pro Bowler and had already really established himself as, the number 1A receiver for the team. So for me, it was just a matter of saying, hey, this is our guy. Let's start to build that rapport and start feeding him. And it's really been that way ever since. I mean, the very first 8 games I played here as a Viking, he had 8 straight 100-yard games, and he's really never looked back. Last year, he was off to a fast start. I think he caught 5 or 6 touchdowns in the first 5 or 6 games. And then he pulled his hamstring, missed, a good third of the season, and then came back and made an enormous catch in overtime in the playoff game to set up Kyle Rudolph's fade that was such an egregious push-off, apparently. So, and he's done it again this year with, aside from COVID taking him out last Sunday, he's been super productive again. So really all I've known in my 3 seasons here is Adam being consistent and productive. And eventually Father Time will get us all. But until then, I expect him to keep doing it.
Before we let you go here, and once again, Wednesdays are an incredibly busy day. I was only third string quarterback in the NFL, so I don't know what the starting quarterback in NFL Wednesday is from personal experience, but I've seen it. So I appreciate you taking time here. Justin Jefferson, has come on to the scene, and obviously the Gritty has been a lot of conversation. Can you Gritty, by the way?
I have never even tried. I have talked to him about it, and I'll leave it at that. Just talking about it. Don't need to be about it.
Hey, you run one in, though, in a primetime game. If we could see primetime Kirk. Yeah, I mean, may have to do it.
Trainer, yeah.
Yeah, have to. Can we talk? How has it been, I mean, for him to – now, granted, somebody has to throw in the ball, and that's you. But how do you think he's made it look so easy? Because these young guys, Chase Claypool is having a hell of a year. He's a rookie as well. Justin Jefferson is – it's not normal for these rookies to be able to do what they're doing. What has it been like for Justin Jefferson? Is he just like a natural, like everything just comes to him, the work ethic, everything like that? What have you noticed?
Natural is the word I've used. You know, people ask me kind of what has made him successful, and it's not any one trait. It's not, oh, he's a 4.2 40 guy, so he's just faster than everybody, and that's why. Or, oh, he's big and strong, and so he just outmuscles people. It's really neither of that. He's just a natural receiver. So tracking the football comes easy for him, closing on the ball, attacking it with his hands, creating separation versus man coverage, and then running the entire route tree. There's not a route that he's uncomfortable running. So I think when you're a natural receiver, the game comes naturally to you. It makes for a really smooth transition. And we needed somebody who could kind of complement Adam, because we saw, when Adam was out last week, how defenses will start to really be able to say, okay, this is their one receiver, let's take that guy away. When you have two, it really forces defenses to play a little more honest. And I think that's why both of them then can be so productive.
Hey, I'm gonna ask this question, and you answer it. You're a very intelligent guy. What was it? Was Stephon? Was it off the field, on the field? Why didn't it work with Stephon? You think? Like, why did he end up getting? Because he's having a good year with Buffalo. He had a great year with you guys. Why didn't it work? You think? What was it? Because you guys needed to fill in that gap with Justin Jefferson, who's done an incredible job. I mean, Stephon was an incredible tag team with Adam Thielen. What do you think it was? Was it relationships with? Like, what was it? You think?
You'd have to ask Stephon. I mean, he wasn't gonna, go around the building and just verbalize that to everybody. I mean, he went about his business and did his work, and he was very productive. I mean, at back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for us. And when Adam was out last year for several weeks, we really leaned on him to carry us in the pass game, and he did. So, he was always great to me, great with me. He's one of the best receivers, one of the best players I've ever played with. I mean, he's showing that now in Buffalo, what he can do. So I was grateful I got to play with him for 2 years, but he wanted to go somewhere else, and fortunately it worked out for everybody. He was able to get that, and we were able to then draft Justin, and all in all, looking back, I hope everyone's kind of able to be happy with how it worked out.
Yeah, and it's always interesting because whenever there's like a little seed of negativity planted, it can always blossom into something if miscommunication happens. And I feel like that was potentially what happened over there. And that happens everywhere, by the way, in every business, not just there. And it has worked out on the other side in a beautiful fashion. Kirk, I'm excited to watch you guys continue to go on a run. Your team is awesome. We have to talk about this cereal, though, because I'm a big cereal eater. The Cousins Cinnamon Snaps. Was Cinnamon Toast Crunch your favorite cereal?
So here's the deal. It's kind of a cross between the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Golden Grahams. And you'll notice cinnamon is MINN, obviously. But it's been great to partner with Hy-Vee and sell that cereal for a limited time during the season. And then the proceeds can go help support the local Boys and Girls Club chapters here in the Twin Cities here in Minnesota. And we've got a bunch of boxes in our house, and I'm usually having one at night before bed. So, if you like a cross between Golden Grahams and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, that's what you're getting.
Yeah, that sounds like a dream come true. And also the Julie and Kirk Cousins Foundation, which directs money to the Boys and Girls Club of the Twin Cities, will be giving all the money from the if you die, you die thing. Don't die, by the way. The world's better with you. And we'll send some 5Xs over for the big asses blocking up for you up in the front.
Thank you. They'll be much happier with you, and you'll be in their good graces.
Well, they do a great job. I mean, Dalvin Cook, I don't know what his injury is. I don't know the update, but what you guys have been able to accomplish, I can't wait to see you guys going forward, and I can't wait to chat with you again, Kirk.
Awesome, Pat. Enjoyed it. Thanks, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michigan State legend, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah!
Thank you, Kirk. He was cool, huh?
Good guy.
Cereal night, just like you, Paul.
Yeah.
Not right now, obviously, but
Yeah, because I'm on the keto. This is the thinnest I've looked in a long, long time, by the way. I got my hair cut as well last night.
Looks good.
I did a good fade. See, the issue with my head, with how large it is, if any hair grows out, I mean, I immediately look 10 to 15 pounds heavier. So I got to keep the thing going there or whatever. Kirk Cousins is a cool guy, man. He knew what we had going on, too, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, what was your question going to be?
Oh, I just wanted to ask him when he gave the old "You like that?" quote, whether he knew that was going to be as big as it is, and if people kind of try and bait him into saying "You like that?" whenever they're asking if he likes something.
Oh, so you even had a follow-up, too.
Yeah, I had to. If
The
I
Minnesota Vikings people asked if we could potentially wrap that one up. They said they enjoyed it, but Wednesday is massive day. Like in the NFL, now granted it's bigger today because there's an actual fucking game, Ravens and Steelers. But Wednesday's your work day. It's where you put everything in. The quarterback has to go. I mean, it is the fact that we even got him on this day. Very thankful for, and hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with him again down the road. Let's go to some phone calls, shall we? Let's go to Brandon in Florida. Brandon, what's going on, dude?
Hey, Pat and the boys, how we doing?
Hey, Brandon, not too shabby. What part of Florida are you in? It's cold as balls down here.
Dude, it's unbelievable. I'm in Palm Coast. I'm only about an hour from you, bub.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, I hope it warms up for you down there in the Palm Coast. Is that near Palm Beach? That's where Epstein was running around, right?
No, it's up by Daytona Beach. It's about a half hour north of Daytona.
Hey, Daytona.
Daytona?
Oh, yeah. Daytona. Hey, Daytona. What do you want to talk about, Brandon?
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to shout out Gumpy for the footy picks. He's been really saving me on this NFL cold streak here. But
And by the way, Gumpy's back, not just with footy, college basketball last night. I think he won like 5 of 6 or 5 of 7. So maybe Gumpy should kind of self-eval, maybe have a bye week here and say, you know what, fuck the football. I'm going to do the soccer and the college basketball. Gumpy, have you thought about that at all?
You know me, Pat. I keep swinging, pal.
Attaboy. I mean, he's like 10 of his last 12 in soccer and college basketball. But let's dive right into the NFL pool where nobody's making any money at all. And Gumpy, that's why we appreciate you, pal, no matter what the Celsius is down here in Florida. What do you want to talk about, Brandon?
Hey, I just wanted to ask a quick question. I'm actually from Massachusetts, so New England Patriots fan. Shout out Boston Connor. But would Bill Belichick guide this 2020 Bucks team to an undefeated season if he was head coach?
Brandon, that's a great. We have a segment coming up in hour 2, by the way, that I do believe involves potentially what's going on down there in the Bucs situation, because it is wild. All right, it is, and I'm a lot of those coaches down there I'm friends with. I've played for them. Okay, I got a lot of the way this whole thing has kind of unfolded has been very, very interesting. The dynamic. And by the way, they're still in the playoff picture. Okay, they're going to get the playoff. And when you got Tom Brady, who knows what you're going to be able to pull off. And even though he hasn't looked like in primetime games and the offense hasn't been able to move and, that sort, the thought of the way the dynamic was going to go between BA and Tom, there's no way we could have expected it to be this. And in the second hour, we'll do a little tease here. We have questions from other sports shows. Connor, will you tease the one question that AJ Hawk and I will be answering in the second hour from other sports shows that were being asked?
Yeah, I'll tease one because, Mr. Rodgers was on the show yesterday. And are you surprised Aaron Rodgers is still using off-season headlines as motivation?
Yeah, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Oh,
you wanted the
listen.
That is,
sorry, you wanted the TB12 tease.
No, you can't do it. No, the question that was mute his microphone. Mute his microphone for the rest of the hour. Okay. Ty.
Yeah.
No, Ty, you don't fucking read it because then we can't tease the entire segment. We can't tease the entire segment at this point. But how does that happen?
I don't know.
How does that happen?
To be honest, I thought he was joking when he said it. I thought he was going to go right to the one we had talked about before the show, but not exactly.
He was so excited, too.
You're an embarrassment at some point. Like, you hear me, like, Connor? Like,
I hear you.
You can hear me. You can't speak, and that's probably better for everybody at this particular point. That is an absolute embarrassment, okay? We are obviously – Brandon just asked an incredible question. He complimented you. Shout out to Massachusetts. He said if Bill Belichick was running the ship down there, he was literally – and now, granted, this is what happened with Connor's stupid little tiny brain. He heard that, and then immediately was like, oh, what if Bill Belichick was coaching down there? And then just everything else just got turned off completely for the next 2 minutes, by the way. I talked for 2 minutes after that question to get to this point. There's a lot of conversation around Tom Brady and Bruce Arians and the relationship. And now I guess Bruce Arians has come out and said that Tom Brady's calling the plays or something like that, which brand new news to all of us. I didn't know that was happening because remember, when Tom Brady went down there, it was understood that he potentially has roster control. And now there's a bunch of comments about how Gronk's down there, Antonio Brown's down there, that I'm still not doing. I mean, it feels like that relationship is just not working at all. Michael Lombardi, who's co-host of Hammer Don, our gambling podcast, which has run into a little bit of a cold streak as the entire world has. Sports books are going to win at some point, but we'll get hot back up.
Yeah.
The man who was a general manager for the Cleveland Browns, and he has good relationships around the NFL and in New England and with people that were formerly at New England. And he wrote, and he's not speaking for anybody, but he said at some point, this isn't Bruce Arians' fault. This isn't Tom Brady's fault. But for whatever reason, it doesn't feel like what we thought was going to potentially happen, which was a melding of the offenses and a little bit more comfort and all that shit. It is not working out like that. And I'm not saying they're dead, but boy, it feels like this bye week couldn't come at a better time because they got a lot of shit to figure out down there. And I don't think Bill Belichick would have ever said anything along the lines of what BA has said publicly, but Tom Brady has not said anything to the sort of him being upset about it. In the second hour, we will have something called Questions from Other Sports Shows. One of them will address Aaron Rodgers using headlines, which has nothing to do with what we were just talking about. And one of them will be about BA and Tom Brady's relationship alongside Byron Leftwich. Let's go to Kevin in Pittsburgh. What's going on, Kevin? What a fucking idiot.
Hey, Pat. I just had a quick question. First off, thank you for having me on today.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for coming on, Bob.
Hey, baby, Kevin.
What do you want to talk about, brother?
So I heard you and the boys talking about how Pittsburgh and Big Ben are pretty bad as double-digit favorites against the spread. Do you think that's just a representation of how difficult it's been in the AFC North? And with this next generation of quarterbacks coming in, do you think that'll maintain?
Yeah, the AFC North, what did Tomlin say? The AFC North is the kitchen. It's hot in the kitchen or something.
Yeah.
And that's just – I feel very lucky that I was born in a city that had a team in the AFC North, okay? Now, granted, being born in Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Baltimore or Cincinnati and numerous other cities, but we're talking strictly about the AFC North. There's just, it's a Rust Belt. It's Rust Belt, right? So it's like there's a certain team, and I think Aaron talked about this yesterday whenever there's teams that are built with speed. Okay, there's teams that are built with speed, indoor teams, dome teams. He talked about the Colts team, how they had Freeney and Mathis, and if you're playing indoors on a fast track, like you're basically screwed there because they had the speed. They were going to be able to end it. Peyton's offense was wide open. Like that team was built because we're in Indianapolis. We had a dome. So that the AFC North teams are built for being in the AFC North, for in the weather. It's a smash mouth style of football. Now, granted, the Steelers are much more wide open now. They throw the ball a lot, even though some commentators just say they have to run the ball. 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 Why aren't they running the ball? They're undefeated, okay? They're able to do it. They have an extension of the run game with some swing passes and shit like that. But the defense, the attitude, everything is just like a smash mouth, tough style of football. That's why the 10.5-point spread is wild, because whenever you have two smash mouth style. Now, granted, are the Ravens broken? Are the Ravens still a smash mouth team? Because the Titans danced on their emblem and Harbaugh had to go fight. And by the way, Harbaugh, who's been in Baltimore for a long time, had a lot of smash mouth teams, tough teams. He went out there, and I assume he potentially thought some of his players were going to back him up. They did not, right? So him and Vrabel get into it. So are the Ravens still that type of team, or is everything broken in that locker room? Nobody knows. But I do believe the AFC North, especially with OG's coach, Mike Tomlin still coaching the AFC North, is going to have for a long time. Harbaugh is going to stay coaching in the AFC North over there for a long time. Zach Taylor, I think he's going to get run the fuck out of town. I mean, I don't know how he – I mean, maybe. I don't know him personally, and I know that the Cincinnati Bengals don't really care much about their football team that they put out there every single time. That's why they don't have an indoor practice facility in 2020. But if you look at Stefanski in the way Andrew Barry's building that team in Cleveland, they know that that's what you got to be. So it feels like the AFC North will always be that style of football. Diggs, do you agree with me as being a guy who, is very invested in the AFC North every single week?
Yeah, 1,000%. And that's how the teams are built. And that's how the Steelers were with Ben for a long, long time. And then Ben and the Steelers kind of adapted to this modern day where you can throw the ball more, and they have a quarterback that can do that, so they've kind of adapted to that a little bit more. There is some breaking news out of Pittsburgh from Adam Schefter. The game is officially a go tonight, but the Steelers will be without center Marquise Pouncey, who has been placed on the COVID reserve list.
Okay, so starting running backs and quarterback out for Baltimore Ravens. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, out Pro Bowl starting center Pouncey. Game is not tonight. It is at 3:40. Diggs, get your Pittsburgh brain wrapped around a mid-afternoon game in the Steel City, which is officially a go. Can't wait to see what happens. 10.5 points is a lot of points, dude.
It's a lot of points.
A lot of points.
It's a lot
of points, man. I'm not going to make an official pick, but everybody has heard the way I fucking spoke about this game. You can kind of see which way I'm leaning. So if that ends up happening, I would like my roses. Okay. I would like my roses for it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Get your roses.
What if the Steelers just come out 55-0? Well, that makes sense. Cameron in Washington. I don't know if it's D.C. or the state. What do you want to talk about, Bub?
It's the state, man. I want to talk about. I got a couple sources, and you're not going to trust me because I'm not. I don't have any reputation. But there are rumors about Ken Norton Jr. getting fired because his contract is up in 2021.
Who?
And then they're going to bring back Dan Quinn. Ken Norton Jr., he's the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks.
Oh, okay. Cameron, I don't even know if you're in Washington. I don't even know if your name's Cameron. That's going to be tough to do there. But the conversation, as soon as Dan Quinn got fired from Atlanta, the conversation was, will he go back to the Seahawks with Pete Carroll because of the natural fit that they had when the Legion of Boom was flying around, which is what got Dan Quinn the starting gig. With the way that defense is going, you would think that they were going to have to take a look at that at the end of the season. But Seahawks are still in the middle of a potential playoff run unless they're going to fire him mid-season. But thanks for the early heads up, Cameron. We do appreciate that, and we will make sure Cameron in Washington gets his flowers if that ends up paying off. What's your second one? You said you have another inside source?
No, I don't. Just one.
Huh. Okay, Cameron, we appreciate that, man. Thanks for breaking the news there. When are they going to fire him, tomorrow?
Probably not.
I doubt it.
They're just going to bring Dan Quinn in and be like, hey, you know what? We got a little bit of fucking 5 weeks left. Just fucking go ahead and do what we got to do. We still got the playoff run, too. It was Russell Wilson's birthday the other day.
I mean, Dano's defense wasn't doing so hot before he got fired.
And the Seahawks, what? They just held the
Eagles. But, hey, the game before that, I believe it was against the Rams or the
Cardinals.
Cardinals, they played well on defense, too.
They're going to change something on the defense, I'd assume, whether it's players, whether it's a scheme, whether it's coach or something like that. Maybe Dan Quinn comes back, by the way. He had a great relationship with Pete Carroll, I'd assume. Good for him. Getting a lot of tweets now. I guess the Aaron Rodgers stuff is really starting to go. Really starting to go. Skip Bayless just tweeted, Aaron Rodgers takes a shot at Green Bay management, now on Undisputed. I don't think he took a shot at Green Bay management, by the way. I think the Green Bay management drafting Jordan Love set up a lot of people to talk about how he's lost it. I believe he was talking about the reaction to the Jordan Love draft pick by a lot of stooges that basically said this makes sense because Aaron Rodgers is way past his prime. Am I wrong in thinking that, or is that just too much fucking common sense for these people that have to get on television and speak?
No, that's absolutely right. And I think he was also more so talking about guys like Skip Bayless who were saying that he was done last year on their shows.
Exactly. So he didn't take a shot at management, actually. It turns out he took a shot at you.
Yeah.
Spoil the shit out of your dog with BarkBox. 2 toys, 2 treats, and a chew. It starts as low as $22 a month for $60 worth of dog chews and toys. It's the best day of the month for all of our dogs when their BarkBox arrives. My dogs absolutely love the toys, okay? Squeak, squeak, squeak. They got some super chewers, too, so if you have a dog that has a good jaw, like, for instance, my dog Valerie, she is half pit bull, half Shar-Pei, okay? She's got good jawline. And Chuck, the corgi, although he's small, that son of a bitch can bite. So whenever they start doing a little thing, they tear up a lot of their toys. So they also have Super Chew toys at BarkBox, which is just unbelievable. They take care of your dogs. And right now, if you join, you get an extra toy in every single box for a year. It's $60 worth of toys for free. Right now, go to BarkBox.com/Pat and be the hero. your dogs deserve every single month. We got about 6 minutes. Hour one's wrapping up. We got AJ Hawk on the other side. Be a friend, tell a friend, go take a shit. We'll see you then.
I'm just checking your availability. If you're in Indianapolis now, did you get to Buffalo?
Yeah, I got a plane that's supposed to take me down to game day anyway, so I could definitely have it go to Buffalo first. How long's the flight from Indy to Buffalo? You can find us a plane for like 4 o'clock. I think that'll be perfect.
The best we can do is depart around 5:30.
Okay, do we have any other, can you find any other planes that can get us out of here earlier than that? I was just asked if I could appear in Buffalo within the next 4 hours to basically do the show on Fox tonight.
Okay, I'll call you back.
You know what I'm asking for?
Yeah.
All right, so he's gonna call Jim Irsay and see if I can just use Jim's jet. He's calling me back shortly, but just start packing. Hey, you're the absolute best. Does this sound like a potential yes you're saying? He's the fucking best. I would be so thankful. Hey, this is really cool. I don't know how many billionaires would do this for people that have worked for them in the past. This is awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. Can I take a kendo stick to his back?
We'll talk about it when you get here.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Hey, let's break the fucking internet tonight. What a hilarious life. We are live on Fox in 6 hours and 35 minutes. 3 hours of sleep, no clue what the storylines are. Just fucking let the nuts swing, bro. Let's just go out there and have a good time. Plane company. I know. Here we go, boys. All right, Talk SmackDown tonight. This is gonna be a night we're gonna look back on and remember, and then we're gonna hop on a plane and head to Memphis for College Game Day. I think this is a joke too. I just want to let you know, like, this is a Truman Show. I very much understand that this is not supposed to happen. I got the text at 1:42 p.m. today from Mr. H that says, "Have you heard there have been some travel issues? Can you make your way to Buffalo?" Jim Irsay, owner of the Colts, literally lent me his plane. Might be the most confident I ever tweeted on it. Something. I didn't know we were that good of friends, to be honest. I was throwing a Hail Mary, and he responded and said, yeah. So I got here about an hour and a half before the show, and to work with Renee, Tom, and be on SmackDown with a bucket of makeup on my face. This has been a dream come true bucket list type situation here in beautiful Buffalo, New York. Come on, boys. We're going to be on cable.
Here by Pat McAfee, replacing our guest commentator Aiden English.
No sleeves in, George. Good to see you.
It feels good here in Buffalo. I got a text from the game, a cerebral WWE official. He said, hey, you might have heard about the travel issues. Can you make it to Buffalo? I said, absolutely. What a magical evening it is, November 1st, 2019. I mean, let's be honest. The Marine was a heater. You know what I mean? He's a great actor. He was great on The Real World. He was great on all of that. Tegan, no! That's how they do it in NXT, baby. Almost took me out holding another grown lady in the air. November 1st, 2019, greatest SmackDown in the history of SmackDown. Pat, you joining us? It might absolutely be correct the way things have gone here tonight. SmackDown in the history of SmackDowns, November 1st, 2019. It's documented. I had a good time out there, man. I had no idea what was happening, so it was really just natural reaction to everything. That was awesome, dude. That's a real bucket list thing. Game day bucket list. This is like complete bucket list. 2 in 1 week. Oh yeah. Got a horseshoe shoved up my ass, and a horseshoe owner lending us a plane. Are you kidding me, dude? Since 5:30 a.m. right now. Had incredible meetings with the Memphis coaches and the Navy offense coordinator. Got to record a podcast too. I mean, we got nothing but time. Nice dinner for Hasselbeck's birthday. This is my fault. I might be sleeping in the truck. It never ends, dude. I honestly don't know how it happens. You have a room?
Yeah, it's a big room.
You have a good room? It's nice.
take care of the boys. You know what I mean? I'll sleep on the street out here. I'll go busking with a guitar like I'm the next fucking Elvis. You know what I mean? I'll earn my way. This does seem to always happen. These couches available? That's my pillow too. I'm gonna need it because I'm gonna be sleeping on a fucking bench. I'll go to the bathroom and brush my teeth.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
No big deal. Just walking the streets of Memphis with my sack here and my pillow. We're walking in Memphis with no room to sleep in tonight. We're walking in Memphis.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, December 2nd. The Ravens and Steelers play in a few hours. This is the Pat McAfee Show on Sirius. Hour 2 begins right now.
Nice.
I'll tell you what, pretty pumped about that both hours. We have some breaking news as this hour unfolds in the sports world. LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year, $85 million contract extendo with the Lakers via The Athletic. LeBron James says Shams Charania, LeBron James' contract now runs through 2023 when his son Bronny, shout out to Bronny, by the way.
Shout out,
Shout out, Bronny.
When his son Bronny graduates high school and could have options to enter the NBA draft if the league and the National Basketball Players Association changed the high school to pro rule, which is a lot of assumptions. Obviously, I don't know how that would happen, but hopefully it will. I would assume that LeBron and Bronny will be playing at the same time. LeBron looks to be slowing down at no time near now. And I listened to him talk the other day while he was drinking wine alongside Richard Jefferson and somebody else. And he was breaking down basically this entire offseason about the players they added. They added the Sixth Man of the Year. They added the Sixth Man of the Year runner-up onto their squad. They got a guy from the Clippers onto the Lakers now. And he said that the way they recruited him is they went and knocked on his door, which, by the way, I hope they practice social distance and they knocked with a goddamn 6-foot pole or whatever. And they said, you like what's going on over here? You should come join us. So I feel like LeBron is very invested still and proud of the fact that he is a Laker. They win one in the bubble. I don't think 2 years is where he's going to stop. It feels like he's potentially in this for another 5 to 10. Bronny is going to be in there with him. That has to feel pretty cool. It feels like Frank Gore's doing the same thing with his kid that's coming up through Southern Miss right now. Maybe Frank Gore and his son are in a backfield someday. It feels like he's not slowing down anywhere either. And if the Jets had any fucking respect for that guy, they cut him and let him go somewhere else.
Any goddamn respect.
$85 million, 2-year contract extendo. Obviously, you do the quick math, $42.5 million a year. Do we know what he has made since before this contract? It has to be up near $500, $600 million.
That'll bring him to $429.5 million over his career.
That's on the court strictly.
Yep.
That's not involving the old school Sprite commercials he used to make. You remember those Sprite commercials?
Yeah.
He doesn't really do those anymore, so people are like, oh, yeah, his shoes and all his other merch that he's got going on. Those Sprite commercials used to be top of the line. Congrats to LeBron in getting his paper. And that interview the other night alongside Richard Jefferson, whenever it felt like he was potentially a little bit boozed up, was awesome. Joining us now is a man who's a college football national champion and a Super Bowl champion, AJ Hawk. Attaboy, AJ.
Yeah, AJ! How's it going, guys? How was Kirk? I didn't get to see it.
Awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a Wednesday work day. You know how Wednesdays go, especially for a position that actually has to do stuff and prepare. So he kind of snuck us in there during his lunch break or whatever, but it was nice chatting with him. I asked him about Stephon Diggs, He handled it really, really well because I think that Stephon Diggs situation was one that was pretty, if you're into reality TV, interesting to watch last year because they were having success and he was still pissed off. And who was making him angry? Who did he hate? And then he ends up with the Bills, and then they inevitably get Justin Jefferson in the draft, who has just been amazing or whatever. So it was a cool convo. I think we're going to have him on again, hopefully, at some point.
Good. I mean, I know he seems like a smart dude. What year is this for him in the league?
What's RG3? What year is it for RG3? I mean, that's 8. Yeah.
Trick question.
He got franchise tag. So he was probably 4 years. Then he got franchise tag twice.
2012.
Right? So that's 5 and 6. Then he signed a deal worth whatever. So probably 9 years. Probably 9th year.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2012. So.
Yeah, 9th year.
Okay. I'm sorry I asked. I probably should have just typed it into the computer.
Yeah, probably something. I mean, whenever you do that type of thing, it really. Now, granted, you gave me a chance to display just incredible problem solving, just very, very quickly there, which is something I do well. There's a lot of things I don't do well. That is something I do averagely. A friend of ours got himself into some hot shit last night, and I would like to talk about it. Herb Street. I would like to talk about this Herb Street situation. I really would, because if you only watched one clip of the college football rankings show that they have every single Tuesday night now that the College Football Playoff Committee is ranking teams and everything like that, you could see how Herb Street had to kind of, come out and apologize. But he addressed it on the show, but nobody was watching the show. They only saw it on the internet. We have 2 clips here. Zito, can you run that first clip of our guy Herb Street last night?
I think a lot of people wanted to see where Ohio State would be. The concern on Friday and Saturday was Ohio State. Are they going to have to shut down their operation? Are they going to potentially miss the Michigan State game? Maybe miss of course, the Illinois game. Are they going to have enough to be able to play against Ohio or against Michigan? And are they going to miss the Big Ten championship? And how is the committee going to evaluate them? The fact that they've played 4 games and they're still sitting there in the top 4. Now it comes down to they were going to play Michigan State Saturday. I still think Michigan waves the white flag, potentially avoids playing Ohio State next week. And then, David, they'll potentially get a game on the 19th. They could be sitting there with 6 games. And Michigan, is that fair, David? Michigan could opt out basically of that game and keep Ohio State out of 6 games to qualify for the Big Ten championship. That doesn't.
Okay, so that was his response to Ohio State being number 4 after I think they're not playing a game. They didn't play a game this past weekend. They only have 4 games. There's Ryan Day has COVID positive, and in the Big Ten, which is the Big Ten's, ego, pride of the president saying, hey, we are just considering games no contest. We're leaving no wiggle room, even though we have seen every other conference of every other sport have wiggle room, reschedule, move things around because we're dealing with something we've never seen before. The Big Ten, who wanted to get out in front and be heralded as heroes and say, we care about students, we're not having a season. And then everybody else is like, well, fuck y'all, we are having a season. So they kind of had to sit on it there for a second. They're like, well, if you want season so bad, this is what we're going to do. 8 games in 8 weeks. You have no wiggle room. That's on you, whatever. And now with Wisconsin and potentially Ohio State not having enough games to get into the Big Ten championship game, the conversation is, will Big Ten have a representative in the college football playoff? So Herb Street in the college football, it was the voice of college football, by the way. Herb Street is the voice of college football. And the way that show is set up is, obviously, this person talks, Herbie talks, and he sent it to Pollock. And then Pollock would send it to, I think, Jesse Palmer. And then Palmer would send it to Joey Galloway. And then they would get back into a full 4, like Brady Bunch setup. And Reese Davis is right in the middle hosting this entire thing. And David Pollock talked, and I was watching it live. David Pollock talked immediately after that, and he said, well, yeah, he addressed that, but Pollock already had his take ready to go for whatever he was going to talk about, and then it goes. And Reese Davis, after the other guys talk, goes, wait a minute. Okay, this is what he said. He said, let's go. I should have stopped this before we even got to Pollock. Let's go back to Herb Street. He's like, did you just say that Michigan is going to say we don't even want to play and blah, blah, blah? And then Herb Street followed up with this right here.
I'm just saying we live in such a strange world that I've talked to a lot of coaches around the country that have said they really feel teams are opting out to avoid playing games because they don't want to get humiliated. They don't want to lose with the team that they have. They don't necessarily have too many COVID positives. They just don't want to have to take the field with the team they have and go get embarrassed. So they're basically waving the white flag and saying we can't play. So there's a lot of that that's being talked about around the country. I'm not suggesting, I have no idea what Michigan's situation is. I'm saying they have the power to potentially say, hey, we can't play next week. And there's nothing Ohio State could do about it if they decide to say that.
So Herbstreit came out and further clarified his statement literally 45 seconds to a minute later. Literally 40. It had to get around they had to pass the baton. And at the end of that video, if you're watching, you saw the Brady Bunch setup that they had. And you know what I mean? The whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he clarified his statement. He was like, I'm not saying Michigan will do that. What I'm saying is they have the option to do that. And Herbstreit's only saying that. And you and I both know Herbstreit. Herbstreit's dialed in with everybody. So when Herbstreit's speaking, it's not like Herbstreit's just making this shit up. Herbstreit has had connections, had sources, and he came out and had to apologize about how Michigan didn't tell him that. But he's hearing that from other coaches. And if you're Michigan, after the year you've had, I don't think it's unfair to say, like, if Michigan and Ohio State hatred is real, why not just go ahead and, stick it to them? I'm not saying they're going to, but Herbstreit's saying this is happening. And he had to clarify his statement. He had to put out a 2-minute apology. He was trending. He's still trending right now, I think, for this whole thing. But I think it got taken out of context, his follow-up. Now, he should have said his follow-up in his initial. He fucked up there for sure. But I think that's an interesting whole thing. It's like, even if you have enough players to compete, but they're not your good players, and teams are like, nah, we ain't doing this. And Reese Davis said, well, shame on them for doing that. That's the case. He gave them the old shame on you thing. It's a very interesting situation, but Herbie's found himself in some hot shit right now.
Yeah, he has. And the whole situation is interesting to me. Like, I saw the apology video before I saw those two clips that you just showed. So I was coming from the end. I'm like, all right. And I watched the apology video, and I was thinking, like, this is exactly what an apology video should be. Like, it didn't look like he was being held hostage. He realized, like, all right, I need to clarify this. And basically, even on the show, the Brady Bunch style show, is that College Football Live? I believe the show that he isn't on very often, actually.
No, that's the College Football Playoff Rankings rollout. It's every Tuesday night.
Okay, all right. So, but that show, his follow-up when Reese came back to him to try to clarify, I thought was answered beautifully. Like, that's kind of what was in his apology. His apology was perfect because he said, I made this comment about Michigan with no evidence that they are doing this. But what he did say in his follow-up answer was they have the power to do this. Like, this is how much power these teams have. If they want to, they could mess with it. I'm not saying they're doing that, but they could. I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty interesting, especially since Herbie is dialed into every single coach in college football and talks to all of them. So he's just relaying things he's heard. He's not specifically saying Michigan's doing this, but hey, they could if they wanted to. So yeah, I mean, I think he's handled it. I like the fact that he did his apology video seemed sincere, it seemed legit, and he was just like, hey, I messed up, but hey, here we go. Let's keep going.
The only thing he messed up about was saying that Michigan was going to do it. Like, in his first response, he should have said, I've been hearing from very high-level coaches, because that's who Herbie talks to, by the way. Herbie talks to everybody in college football. And by the way, college football is what? 85% recruiting and marketing and about 15% about how you guys play. So being dialed in with the guy who's the voice of your sport, if you're a coach, is probably a good idea. So Herbie has a good business relationship. And I'm not saying it's not a friendship, but business. Are you all right over there? You're starting to fire, goddammit. But it's almost what Herbie did to himself last night, by the way, what you're doing over there with your goddamn cigars. But the info that he's relaying, and I think that's the biggest storyline of this thing, not Herbie. Now, granted, Herbie should have said, I've been hearing from other coaches that there are some teams doing this, and Michigan could potentially do this if they really wanted to screw over their biggest rival in Ohio State at the end of the season. Like, that's how he should have said it. He definitely fucked that up, right? Like, the way he rolled that out, he did not do it properly, okay? But he addressed it a minute later whenever Reese pushed him and the whole thing. But the big storyline out of this that I've learned is, of course coaches are doing that. Of course coaches, they have their like, by the way, not of course, like, I expected it to happen, but when I heard it happen, I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. Like, of course coaches are like, our team's dog shit. There's no way we're rolling the ball out there. This year doesn't count. This doesn't go towards anybody eligibility. Sorry, we got so many, we just can't perform. We are so sorry. Yeah, go ahead and no contest this thing. We'll see you later. And the other coaches are like, well, are you really? You do not have enough players to field a team? Or are you strictly doing this because you don't want us to come in there and dog walk your fucking squad? Like, it's very interesting whenever you have the teams reporting who's available and how's available to the other team. And now, granted, they're supposed to be medical experts. I'd assume there's regulations in this whole thing. But I think that's the big takeaway is that teams are like, we definitely got enough players to play, but they ain't worth a single fuck. So we ain't doing a damn thing. That was the big takeaway for me. But instead, because of the way it got rolled out via Herbie, the whole storyline was Herbie said Michigan's going to wave the white flag.
So where do you think Herbie goes with Michigan fans? And I think even his apology video, he said I take pride in 25 years of being on TV that I'm not like a Michigan hater. I don't go after Michigan, even though I'm an Ohio State guy. Do you think Michigan fans are they going to be able to forgive him?
Michigan fans got a lot more to deal with, I think. Now, you know what I mean? Like, they got a lot to deal with right now. And I've been on that Ann Arbor campus one time, and it is gorgeous. That place is gorgeous. It is. No offense, Columbus. I had a great time in Columbus, too. That was very nice. But Columbus is like classic college campus, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Ann Arbor is like billionaires just strolling around everywhere. It is. They got a lot more to figure out up there as opposed to whether or not Herbie, who went to Ohio State, no longer lives there and has done an incredible job. I think Ohio State fans hate him because of how balanced he's been in the entire Ohio State thing. Now, granted, Ohio State's at the top of the world a lot. They're at the top of the Big Ten. And I think Ohio State fans hate him as well for not being as much of an Ohio State bandwagon alum as he probably should be in their eyes. I'm not saying all, and you probably know more about this because you're in Columbus, but I feel like there are a lot of Ohio State fans who don't love how the lack of Ohio State drum pounding that Kirk Herbstreit does, right? So I think this is something that will obviously come and go and move on. But it is very interesting that the Ohio State squad has 4 games played on the horizon, who knows how many, and they're number 4 in the entire college football playoff. It's like, does that college football playoff committee care at all about what you've proven or just what you probably are and could be? Because, like, if you're Cincinnati, BYU, how about the fucking Coastal Carolina Shants? You know what I mean? Like, anybody. You're looking at this. This team's played 4 games with a potential to – and they almost lost to Indiana, by the way. Almost lost to Indiana. Not that Indiana's not a good team, but these people have played 4 games and you got them in there. Is that because their fan base is huge? Is it because on paper they have a good squad, or is it because they've already proven? And this is the same conversation that happens every year with college football playoff. It's like, is this real or is this all bullshit?
I mean, go Ty.
Or no, I was saying, Pat, like, to your point about the.
Oh, Diggs, that's tough. He called you Ty. That's tough.
That's
dude.
fine. All I did was go. I mean, I'm sure this is what Dabo's thinking too. Like when Clemson goes down to play Florida State, and Florida State's like, "Fuck," it'd be terrible for recruiting, and us trying to get back to Florida State, us getting blown out by Clemson, who is our number 1 competitor, obviously in the ACC as far as recruiting. Like, let's just hope and pray that if COVID case comes up in the meantime.
Yeah, and that, by the way, that got very contentious. The Dabo Swinney Norvell situation down there with Clemson and Florida State. And if we were to piece together potential information to Herbstreit, we could probably – now this is assuming things, and I don't want to do that, but I would assume that maybe somebody in that – I would assume there's other schools where this has happened too, where Herbie said he's heard this from all over the country. So it's not just one particular team that has heard this, but the thought of – teams just going like, yeah, we definitely have enough players, but the players we have stink. And it's not their fault. We thought they were going to be good players. We gave them a scholarship. They just suck like that. So we're not going to play. You could see how the competitive advantage conversation starts playing into these whenever you talk about how transparent you are and what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. And that, by the way, that's what a lot of Steelers fans are saying about fucking Harbaugh with this whole thing. Like Harbaugh, they say that Harbaugh has pulled the strings on this entire thing to get it to Wednesday, but Harbaugh's not even using their starting running backs that they could play with. So I think that kind of theory kind of got debunked immediately this morning.
Well, think about it though, Pat. You know how I guess nervous and anxiety-ridden every head coach is in college football and the NFL. So. If let's say you're 3-2 and you have a game, there you go, puckered all the time. Most of them, because
this is butthole, by the way. This is what butthole puckered sign is immediately for all players and coaches when talking about another coach with how they're acting. It's just like, yep, asshole, real tight right now. Can't even get a fart out of that thing because they're going to shit their pants.
Exactly. Thank you for illustrating that for the strictly audio listeners on Sirius. That's very nice of you. To let people know that. But if I'm Harbaugh this year and I'm with Michigan, aren't you trying to find everything, any way you possibly can to play this Ohio State game? Because that could be your only shot to keep your job if you can find a way to have a massive upset against these guys.
Okay. You're an Ohio State guy too, so we have to remember that. Like, we have to remember that you also went to Ohio State. Now, you are pretty balanced. You're fair and balanced. Now, your license plate does say Ohio State legend on it.
Yeah, that's right. False, but yeah, continue.
We saw it.
No, it is.
Shimmering.
Continue. If we want to, yeah, that's your truth, I guess. Keep going.
It's the truth.
You have that little marijuana-looking thing on there. What is it? The
Buckeye.
Yeah. The little marijuana thing, and it says Ohio State legend. I think it even says "Caca" on there. You know what I mean? I think it even says that. So we got to remember that. If I'm the Michigan Wolverines team, and now as a player, you want to play, right? Because what am I going through all this protocol if we don't have a goddamn game? I'm not just doing spring practice for the last 3 weeks where they just run us dry and there's no game on the line. But if you're Michigan, exec or something like that, I think I'm okay with not getting blown out by Ohio State by 60 to 70 points this year. I think I'm okay with it. Now, if you can win that game somehow, I think there's a lot of self-awareness going on up there, though, in Michigan, where they're like, we stink, we need to change. And if we were to lose to that team south of us, that would just be the icing on a terrible cake that we've had all year. I do believe that is. And that's just thinking of the human side of it. Now, maybe they're like, yeah, let's go compete. You know what I mean? Like, every day we want to compete. We want to compete against this. We want to do that, which, by the way, is kind of the epitome of everything that Reese was saying to Herb Street after Herb Street talked about hearing from teams all over the country that are saying, yeah, we have enough players to play, but they're not good players. And Reese said, shame on you for this entire thing, because that's not what collegiate athletics are. These are student human athletes, student human first before they're athletes. We're not worried about what the outcome is. We're worried about growing the student and the human. And if we just go ahead and cancel games because we don't think we're good enough because the athletic competitive advantage at the end isn't good, that's kind of all bullshit. But, I mean, we could have expected this was going to happen. Though. Like, if we were to sit down, some vitamins and really do like an hour to two forethought, what do we think is going to happen, brainstorm in this college thing, I assume at some point we get to the point where it's like, oh, coaches are going to lie about who's available, who's not available, if their team stinks, like, for sure. I think we could have got to it. We didn't. But now that we're here, we're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense that they would do that.
Wouldn't that also be a very easy way for Michigan to cut bait with Harbaugh? It's like, okay, whatever, go out there, you guys get beat by 60, and then we can can your ass immediately after the game and kind of start the rebuild.
Hey, good call there. Maybe that's what the Michigan front office or whatever. The Michigan execs, what are they?
I don't know, the board. Do they have a board, or the president and the AD and everybody, I guess?
The 75 billionaires that you see at one restaurant in Michigan and then go to the next one, they're the ones that are making – it is such a nice campus, dude. I cannot – like their football team obviously stinks and everything like that, and they've not performed how they're supposed to, but that campus is gorgeous up there, man. It is absolutely gorgeous. What's up,
Pat? But going back to what Ty just said – he's thinking, all right, wouldn't their AD and their president, if they want to move on from Harbaugh, they want to make this game happen, get him blown out. Okay, we can kick him out. But if you're Harbaugh and the competitor, don't you think he's thinking, hey, I know that's on the horizon. If I can go out and get a win, there's no way they can fire me right after I have an unbelievable upset against Ohio State.
Or, hey, if we don't play this game, I only played 4 games this year, and yeah, we were bad, or 5 games this year, yeah, we were bad. You're going to fire me for that? Get the fuck out of here.
We thought we were going to see that in the
I didn't hear what you said there.
I thought for NFL coaches and different places, maybe this year is it buys people some time, but no, they're letting people go in the middle of COVID season.
It's separating, by the way. It's separating, like, those who can and those who can't. Like, I think exposure is happening. And we were talking about this last night in the hotel. I have one of the biggest hotel rooms I've ever seen in my entire life, by the way. It is in a full apartment. There's no balcony.
Foxy didn't get it?
What's that?
Foxy didn't get it?
No, which is wild because normally Foxy would get this. So we had an entire Mansouri, myself, and Foxy. We had a little, group think session up there. I think COVID-19 is exposing a lot of people that are a waste of money to businesses, right? So you're seeing a lot of people that have kind of got along, but really didn't do much to add to the value of the product, right? And just forever, it was like the standard, like this is how it goes. We need this job, we need this person, we need this person, we need this person, we need this person. And then COVID came around and everything had to go remote. And then people really started looking at things because everybody took a hit and they're like, well, we don't need this person. Turns out we don't need this person. We don't need this person. So I think it's kind of exposed a lot of positions that were potentially, not as important as maybe they thought they were. Okay, and I think that's in all businesses. That's not just football. I'm talking all businesses. They all had to kind of do a self-eval. What do we need? What do we no longer need? And that's why you see a lot of these massive companies cutting down. Like a lot of companies are just cutting down. I don't want to say fat because these people are good people and worked very hard. But I think whenever you look at your business and realize that, oh, none of this matters here. We don't need this to really be a profitable business. There was a lot of fat potentially getting cut out of it. Okay. So I think the COVID thing has almost become like an insightful thing for a lot of people to learn what they need, what they don't need. And I, just like you, thought that coaches would be given a reprieve because of how many obstacles and difficult things you got going on and how it's nowhere near a normal year. You didn't have this, you didn't have that. But I think what it has done it has exposed who's good and who's not, who can handle these elements and who can get their teams to do what they have to do and who can't do it. And I think that happened in college. I think that's happening in the NFL. I assume it's happening in high school as well. I think there's been a lot of learning about who's worth the snuff in a lot of things whenever everybody's put on the same playing field, right? We're all put on the same playing field this year. That's why the internet businesses like us, as soon as we saw the TV people have to go to an internet style, we're all like, okay, now they have highlights, which is quite a weapon that we don't have. But when it comes to tech, we're all on the same playing field now. And I think that has kind of been able to decipher who can and who can't. And it's not always good for those who can't. But I think that is why you see a lot of firing happening, because it's like, well, if they can do it, why can't you? We're all on the same playing field. We're all going through the same protocols. Why don't you go ahead and boom, boom, boom? You know what I mean? And you probably didn't expect me to go into that deep of an answer, but we literally had that conversation less than 12 hours ago. And I was very, very, very deep into the vitamins during it. And it just kind of went how it went. And I was like, yeah, that's what I think a lot of people will potentially remember from the COVID is not only, we hope everybody survives, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we hope that. But also how things have just changed dramatically in the way they're judged from before then to during to probably forever now, to be honest.
Well, don't you think coaching, if you want to coach for any length of time, you have to find a way to evolve with the times. You can't be stuck in your ways. You have to be able to adapt, overcome your roster sometimes. Like, look what Bill Belichick is doing this year. He doesn't have the roster he's had in the past, that's for sure. But he's still able to put a good product out and win some games. Or he didn't have Tom Brady, I should say. What's your problem with that?
Who made the roster, though?
Bill. His fault.
Interesting.
No, I'm not going to say it. You said it. I'm not going to say it. We got to get to a break. Hey, good conversation here for the first 20-some minutes.
Good conversation.
Great conversation. You cut me complete off. Yeah, let's go to break.
It was good, man. Leave it on high note, bro. It's a good conversation, dude. Is Herbstreit still apologizing? Does anybody know if he's still apologizing? I don't think he had to.
He shouldn't.
He was telling the truth.
That's what I'm saying. Granted, if you only listen to that first, I think what he did wrong, I think what he should have apologized for was, I should have said what I was saying in the second one a little bit in the first one to kind of set the tone for why I was saying what I was saying. I think you should have done that. But if that's what's happening, and I assume he's talking to people knowing what's happening, it's like that should get talked about as well. And I'm not saying, I guess Michigan, him saying they're going to do it is kind of fucked up because Michigan doesn't deserve that.
Unless they do.
AJ?
Oh, we're going to break.
See you in 4 minutes.
He's saying don't go off the top, it's too shallow.
All you're going to hear this stadium do is they put the big paw up, they start shaking it, they go, whoa. Hey, what things are going good, Yeah, he loves the defensive side of the ball. He said yesterday to me that this is a blue-collar team. They win it on special teams. They have 5 block kicks this season. The defensive side of the ball, Lynch leads the Big 12 in sacks. But also on the offensive side, Denzel Mims is an absolute animal. He is a weapon. Charlie Brewer, the quarterback from Lake Travis,
His dad was a quarterback in Texas. His grandpa was a quarterback in Texas. And the people here in Waco just so happen to get a chance to see Charlie Brewer on a daily basis. Hey. Yeah, boomer here is going to mean a little bit different than what it means on the internet currently. And hopefully here in Baylor, they hope they're not hearing a lot of boomer sooner. Everybody wants to be a punter, including quarterbacks. If I was a quarterback, I'd want to be a punter as well. 0 yards on that punt. That's an embarrassing situation. The Dak dance that gets on national television has led to a lot of losses, but you got to respect the hips being able to.
What sign am I going to make for college game day? Well, I want to make something creative. I want to make something fun. No, to hell with it. I don't like OU.
It's so thick. Look how thick that thing is. That's years and years of patience.
19. You're headed right for the boat.
Right now?
Yeah, for the boat.
Okay, let's do it. We are out here on the Brazos River, which you can take a boat to the game. One of the only stadiums in the country that you can do that. It's beautiful out here. A lot of people would say, this is the last time I'm going to be on game day. The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do, I ended up in a jail cell. Let's go! The blue kicker's getting right here. A lot higher than I thought.
You look like Ric Flair. That was a sellout, by the way. That was beautiful.
Maybe other shirts?
Yeah, hold on. You need to go get changed before you get sick.
Great work, Russia. I'm actually not that cold. Hey, I went for it. My chest hurts. It was like 5 feet. I was standing there. That's full commitment, by the way.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
We're high, we're drunk, there's funk, there's no police. Fuck, man, the day's
I have no idea how we're allowed to play this song.
Okay. All right, here's the hook right here. This is it.
I've been hustling like every day, doing time on the grind, trying to make a pay. Hey, I'm still posted on the same block, same.
That's a banger, dude. I don't know how we're allowed to play it, but Nick told me we're allowed to, so we're gonna give it a run. Probably getting a strike here on the YouTube. Can't wait for that. At Nick Veraldo, how are we allowed to play that song right there?
From somebody associated with it, maybe a producer or some type of manager. I don't know. We are for sure going to get a strike, but we'll just have them hopefully remove it in whenever that happens.
That song is called Right Way by Nick Galecki, Cole Hearted, Wiz Khalifa. It's a banger, by the way. It is it's a real banger. It's like it's a good vlog song that we could use. But every time, the only reason why I played it there is because we played it earlier. So if we're going to get a strike, we might as well go down swinging. It played just because it was on next or whatever, like in the playlist or whatever. It's a heater. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on this glorious afternoon NFL football Wednesday, December 2nd. AJ, this game is taking place here in less than 2 hours. It's obviously very, very weird. Very doesn't make much sense. There's a tweet here that has a stat here. Here we go, from Daniel Valente. Your Ben Roethlisberger stats for today's matchup versus Ravens, now that it is official. Ben is 13-0 at home on non-Sunday games, okay? That's because church Sunday potentially takes a little bit of
Right.
every other day. There isn't as much Jesus in there. Ben is 9-0 versus quarterbacks who have won a Heisman over the last decade, so he does hold a grudge against the big school guys because he was a MAC guy. And Ben is 4-0 in Color Rush jerseys. Diggs, are they wearing Color Rush today?
They were supposed to on Thanksgiving, and I have heard that it has continued throughout the week. Yes.
Okay, so all the odds are saying that the Steelers are going to get a win without Pouncey at center. Maybe that does make things difficult. But a 10-point spread, AJ, that feels like so many points in the middle of Zito, I think you got a literal pointer right on my forehead here. I mean, thank you, sir. The 10-point spread seems to be a bit too much, don't you think, AJ?
I don't know, though. I mean, Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated. The Ravens don't have the MVP quarterback, and they don't have two of their running backs. So why is 10 too much?
It's AFC North. It's AFC North football, AJ. You were in the AFC North with Cincinnati Bengals. Those two are going to slug it out. You're saying Steelers win by at least 11?
No, I'm not guaranteeing that by any means. I don't know what RG3 is going to look like. That's what I'm most, I'm most curious about. If that he has some magic in him. I played against him when he was in Washington. Like, that dude can play. Like, I don't know if he still can, but he could at one point.
Did you see him throw a ball off a palm tree on the internet?
No.
Oh,
dude.
He's spinning it.
I think that's why I think maybe it's too much. I think 10's too much because I saw that video and I'm like, oh, this dude still got it. Let's go to Chuck in Chicago here before we get to our sports show segment. We got a sports show segment coming up that I can't wait for people to do. Chuck, what do you want to talk about, pal?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Oh, this is Chuck. I remember you. Chuck, great to hear from you again.
Oh, yeah, man, good. I got a question for Roger Goodell. I want to ask for an official conference transfer for Chicago Bears to the NFC East. We can get traded from all the teams suck, but we need a team in the NFC East to have a winning record, and the Bears need to make the playoffs.
Yeah, y'all would fit in there, too, because you fucking stink. I mean, that would fit in. That makes a lot of sense, by the way. If I'm the Bears, I'd be thinking the same damn thing. And thanks for the call, Chuck. I enjoy when Chuck from Chicago calls in there. And I assume there's a lot of fan bases that are looking at that NFC East team, and there's going to be, a home playoff game out of the NFC East. And we've watched that NFC East try to play football all year. It is not great. But the last two times this has happened, they said it on Monday Night Football the other night. Seahawks and Panthers, maybe? Seahawks and somebody else, and they both won their playoff game. So imagine this NFC East being a laughingstock since, week 2, probably week 3, and then they win a home playoff game whenever this whole thing pops off. That would be sad, but it's the way the NFL's set up, and the NFC East happens to be the absolute dog shit this year.
Yeah, if you're a team that has to go to the NFC East and play in that first round of the playoffs against whoever the winner is, do you want that game? Because you're like, hey, these guys are probably not the caliber team the rest of the playoff teams are, but if we lose to them, we're probably all getting fired.
Speaking of getting fired, Anthony Lynn has told his players today that this is coming out of Twitter. Daniel Popper, Daniel R. Popper, who is a Chargers beat writer at The Athletic, he just tweeted, Anthony Lynn said he told his players today that the playoff hunt is probably not going to happen this season. No. So that is wrong one here, Zito. I mean, this is probably 10 minutes late. But the Daniel R. Popper, there's not Zito. That's not your fault, by the way. You got 100 things going on back there. But the tweet from Daniel R. Popper about Anthony Lynn saying to his players today that the playoff hunt is probably not going to happen this season goes against literally everything I've ever heard from a coach. The thing about head coaches is even when things aren't going well, and I saw Joey Bosa's mic'd up, by the way. He is a absolute savage on the football field. I love the way that guy plays football. He actually screamed at one point while flexing that he was a fucking beast. He actually screamed after doing that. And he got into it a couple of different times. He had a massive game, 3 sacks, fumble recovery, or 4 sacks, fumble recovery. He had a big game here where they weren't able to cover because inevitably the quarterback went up for a quarterback sneak, and everybody thought it was still a shotgun play with no time left on the clock because they didn't handle the clock well or whatever. But coaches' jobs are to continue to keep their players motivated. Like that is literally what your job is. So at this point, I don't know the playoff. Can we look at the AFC playoff picture? Zito, can you pull that up? We do have that graphic. The thought that the head coach just looks at the boys and goes, hey, listen, boys, it's been a tough year, hasn't it? You got a lot of COVID, got a lot of shit going on. Well, it's about to get even worse. We got no shot making the goddamn playoffs. So Just if you want to hang it up, do what you got to do. That's wild to me, man. And it seems inevitable here. And I'm sure Anthony Lynn's a good guy. He was a great barbecue guy there, first episode of Hard Knocks and all that. It seems like the writing's on the wall. There's no way that's the guy you want handling Justin Herbert's incredible career. That could happen, but that just doesn't feel like the right thing a head coach would say to somebody. That doesn't feel like the right thing, don't you think?
Yeah, but I want to get confirmation from Anthony Lynn though. Like they're not technically like they can still mathematically make the playoffs, right?
Well, especially if there's a Week 18 with 16 teams, you could sneak in the back door. I mean, there's so many things that could still happen. There's literally with COVID. That's why a head coach telling us now. Daniel Popper said. Anthony Lynn said. This is what Daniel Popper. Now, did we know this Popper guy existed before a minute and a half ago? Absolutely not. No. But Daniel Popper writes for The Athletic. He's a Chargers beat writer. He says Anthony Lynn said, not that the player said Anthony Lynn said this or a source told him. Anthony Lynn said he told his players today that the playoff hunt is probably not going to happen this season, boys. Now, he doesn't know if this is going to be a 16-team playoff setup that we've never had before. He doesn't know if an entire team maybe is not going to be able to play a couple games because he has no idea. That's a wild – hey, I like the harsh reality that Anthony Lynn said. This is our reality here, boys. Okay, we stunk. We lost 10 games by 7 or less points, and maybe that's my fault, but you guys couldn't figure it out either, and now we don't have a playoffs. So if you want to start scheduling your offseason, go ahead and start doing it. All right, the protocol's only a few more weeks. Let's get through it, and then we'll be on to 2021. That's just – I don't know if that's the head coach that you want leading your squad.
With 5 games left, they are 4 games behind the 7th seed if it's 7 teams from each conference, and 3 games behind the Baltimore Ravens, who are the 8th seed if it's a 8-team.
Still alive. I remember watching Chuck Pagano dance around every potential and say what you want about Chuck Pagano. I enjoyed him. I thought he was hilarious. I'm having a little smoked brisket right now. I think it was roasted, slow roasted for maybe 16 hours. This one.
Can smell it from here.
It's unbelievable. But Chuck Pagano would dance around every possible scenario that we had all the way up into the final weeks. All right, boys, listen. Once you be Schick, though, if we need this team to win, this team to win, this team to tie, what if that all happens and we don't do our job and we don't make the playoffs because of that? Wouldn't we be Schick if that was the case? And it was like, yeah, I guess we would be. But that is literally like I think a big part of head coaching is keeping your boys who've been in the Groundhog's Day routine here for 5 months now motivated. You still have everything in front of you until you're 100% eliminated. A la the Jets, the Jags, who are starting Skycam over Gardner Minshew, who is available to come back to start Mike Glenn. Until you are mathematically eliminated, isn't the job of a head coach to figure out ways to continue the season? The more and more I think about it, it's why I wish I would have been in that room. I'm like, oh, we're fucking out. Huh? All right. We got no. Well, I'm not going to practice today then. Fernando Ramirez at Real F Ramirez. Chargers coach Anthony Lynn says the playoff hunt probably isn't going to happen at this point. 8-8 is the best we can do, and I don't think that's going to be good enough. All right, so fucking Anthony Lynn is now doing a playoff projections.
Really?
I like that. I like that a lot. That's wild. That's a wild move. We're a sports talk show, and there's other sports talk shows out there that we enjoy. A lot of incredible personalities, people that speak with good brains and everything like that. And Boston Connor wanted to have a segment, so we got him a segment called Questions from Other Sports Shows, and me and AJ will battle it out. Zito, do you have the open for this?
Yes. Welcome to Questions from Other Sports Shows.
Can't believe we did that. What do we got today, Connor?
Gentlemen, let's keep it clean as always. I teased this question earlier pretty perfectly, but are you surprised that Aaron Rodgers is still using off-season headlines to motivate himself? This comes from First Things First.
That was wild. I saw that this morning whenever I woke up. And them saying, are you surprised that Aaron Rodgers is using off-season headlines to motivate himself here? Now we're in week 12 or week 13. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is using these things to motivate himself. I think whatever he gave the answer, what he was saying is, hey, here's a matter of fact. There was a lot of people talking out of pocket whenever that Jordan Love draft pick happened. Now, a lot of people are saying that he was taking a shot at the Green Bay Packers organization. I don't think he was doing that. I think what he was taking a shot at was the reaction of the Green Bay Packers draft pick of Jordan Love about how Aaron Rodgers is way past his prime and he's dead. I assume Aaron, who is a man who I think knows what's going on, I think he has a pretty good feel of the pulse of everything that's happening in the world, saw a lot of that. And whenever he got a chance to talk about it, he'd say, you know what? A lot of people said I was dead. I remember reading it. I am not. I don't know if he uses it as motivation as more so of, I remember when a lot of these dumbasses who get paid a lot of money to talk about stuff were saying that I was dead because Jordan Love came here. I don't think he was taking a shot at the Packers organization. I don't think he uses it as motivation. I think Aaron Rodgers has enough chips on his shoulder. I think he is that type of guy. But the question of, are you surprised that Aaron Rodgers is still using it? It's like, no. Like, if somebody tells you suck, like, that is a perfect piece of motivation. I'm not surprised at all by that entire thing, AJ.
Well, who would ever be surprised by something that from this past offseason, like, oh my gosh, this 5.5 months later, this guy is still using this as motivation? Well, it's not like a daily thing where he sits up and looks at his little journal of all the different journalists he hates and, don't like this guy. But how many times, though, do you watch a game right now, Pat, and Tom Brady's in, his 21st season, and they always talk about where he was drafted. And he's always had that chip on his shoulder. I'm like, are we surprised that Tom Brady's still using his draft position as motivation? No, we're not. Tom Brady's probably still using motivation from some coach when he was 5 years old that told him he throws terrible and he has terrible form. Like, he probably still remembers that dude every time he throws a touchdown pass. So, no, this is what athletes do, especially if you're a quarterback in the NFL. I think the majority of them have a long list of people that they're sticking every single touchdown to.
And also, especially whenever you get that far in your career, like you have to find things. You know
Also,
what I mean? You have to,
think about it, though. Think about that, though, Pat. If you're a quarterback in the NFL and you're established somewhat, you could have 10 great games in a row. You play one bad game, and there's a chunk of people writing you off. You're terrible. They got to get rid of you. Oh, his time has come. This guy's too old. Like, that happens to these quarterbacks. Like, every week could be an absolute roller coaster if they let it.
what did Drew Brees tell us, Ty, down at the Super Bowl? Whenever I asked him a question about all the things that are said. I was like, do you use that as motivation or whatever? And he said, I'll take all the bullets. Like, I'll definitely use – like, I will use them. Like, and now, granted, what happened after that conversation with Drew Brees is – has gone down in history with Ty Schmidt even taking a shot at him just yesterday in a conversation with Aaron, by the way. But Drew Brees even acknowledged it. He was like, I'll take all the bullets that are coming at me. Anything that'll get me, I'll do that. So I guess the answer is no for this. But I think it's hilarious that the way the question was posed, you know what I mean? Like, he's using off-season headlines, like as if they're looking down at him. Like, this guy is using off-season headlines? It's like... Yeah, you guys all told him he was fucking dead and that Jordan Love was going to take his goddamn spot. The kid can't even throw the ball into a goddamn net. I mean, yes, I would use that if I was him. But the angle now today is that he was taking shots at because there's not a lot of accountability. Mm-hmm. So now the angle is that he was taking shots at the organization. There's no way he could have been taking shots at us. No, he was taking shots at the Green Bay Packers organization. It's like, yeah, that's what it was, dude. What's the next question, Connor? Can't wait to hear this one.
The second question comes from Good Morning Football. It is regarding a trust scale, gentlemen. And this is on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you trust these teams? Let's get the AFC North to step on the scale. From a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the Cincinnati Bengals?
That's next to a 0. For me, I think we're gonna go big goose egg on the trust scale there.
Whoa!
They don't have an indoor practice facility. Okay, so you automatically got to be a little bit leery of a team that doesn't seem to care if their players like playing there or enjoy going to work or want to put in extra work in the middle of a goddamn blizzard, which I think is happening right now in the Midwest. I mean, I'm down here in Florida; it's cold, but I think you guys are in the middle of a blizzard up there. Oh, yeah. Probably not a lot of extra reps happening. After practice, whenever there's no indoor facility. Who knows if Zach Taylor's going to be the head coach going forward. And Joey Burrow got killed more than once this season. So my trust level for the Bengals is a 0. Are we doing the rest of the AFC North here, Connor?
I mean, we can just go right to the Ravens Steelers tonight and just get your gauge on how you guys trust these two teams.
Yeah, we could do that, but we could also just roll through all of them. The Browns, for me, they're after talking to Jarvis, much higher than it was before. Like, I'm a big Jarvis Landry guy. I trust them to do what they're going to do. 110 is going to be tough. Ravens, I think I'm at like a 6-7 with them. I'm at a 6 or 7 with the Ravens, just strictly because I don't know how the culture is over there. There's been a lot of things that have been leaking out that seem like the culture is not the same as it once was. Being a Raven used to be a very large deal. Now you got guys tweeting about how they're not getting the ball. Lamar Jackson saying they know what's coming. There's a fight at midfield. It's not between the players and the other players. It's players and the coaches. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe they'll be able to turn around today at 340 with RG triple sticks. And the Steelers, my trust level is 9 to 10. 10 probably. I think they figure out how to win. They had that Gary Gilbert game or whatever, but it feels like that Steelers team is built to win. What do you think about the AFC North, AJ?
So trust them for what? What am I trusting them with?
Yeah, I'm
Your
not
life.
sure. That
Your
was
life,
not,
dude.
Your life.
Mm-hmm. My life, I don't trust any of them with my life. I don't count on them to protect me.
Maybe you should.
Fair enough. All zeros.
Well, how about
Let me go
for
through
the segment?
Let me go through the teams. I'm going to run through all 4 teams real quick. Bengals, obviously, no, you can't trust them. Browns,
0.
Tiny bit of trust, 4.5. I love Jarvis. I just don't know. You got to prove it, I think.
did it.
You got to show.
Wow.
Then Ravens, I'm at a 5 with them probably. Steelers,
Wow.
I'll give them a 9. So, yeah.
You did the segment.
Attaboy,
You
AJ.
did the segment. We thought it was going to be all zeros with the way you led off there, right? Because you said you don't trust any of them. But then all of a sudden we started getting real numbers out of you. I didn't even give the Browns a number. So you did that segment more than I did. Attaboy, AJ. What's the last question, Connor?
Last one we got. Bruce Arians said that Tom picks the plays before the game, in the huddle, and at the line of scrimmage. Are you guys buying that TB12 has full control over the Buccaneers offense? This comes from Undisputed.
No, he doesn't have control. This was wild whenever I heard this. Because the fact, like, I respect Undisputed, but I respect all these shows. I enjoy good entertainment. They don't do their shows like we do their shows. But some of the reason why we're doing a segment is because some of the questions are so fucking stupid. It's hard to, but that's what they got to do whenever you got to talk about something every single day. So I understand that. And we'll probably get to that point at some point whenever we've run out of it. But are you buying the TB12 has full control over Bucs offense? This is wild if this is continuing to happen, right? I guess Bruce said that he picks the plays before the game that he likes. That happens with every quarterback, by the way. They'll give them plays and they'll be like, hey, these are the ones I like in this first down, 3rd and long here. These are the plays I like. Then they're saying in between series, Tom is saying what plays he likes. I think that happens with every quarterback too. I don't think that is out of the norm. Like, I think it's very normal. The thought, though, that there's a potential narrative going on that Tom Brady is actually calling the plays and doing all that, I don't know if that's anywhere near accurate. Like, I don't know if that's anywhere near. And if that is a narrative that's being pushed by anybody, that's obviously to probably cover somebody's ass if that's being happening. But I don't think that's happening down there. What's Byron Leftwich doing if Tom Brady's calling plays? And if they have success, then you have to give Tom Brady credit. Then if that's, it's like, I just don't think Tom Brady's calling the offense like what is kind of being implied with the question.
No, that's what they used to do back in the day, like when Johnny Unitas played. Like, they called all the plays. Like, they called the offense, but quarterbacks haven't done that for a long time. The only time quarterbacks now call the whole offense is usually when they get into like a 2-minute drill. That's why you see Aaron loves the 2-minute, because he can kind of pick the plays. You don't have time to radio it in. But if Tom's picking the stuff pregame, he's saying, yeah, these are what I like. During the game, of course, hey, this is what they're giving us. This is what I think may work. Cool, let's do it. They're still radioing in the call to his helmet. Like, he's not going through the list in his head of the Rolodex of the 200 possible plays and picking it out. And maybe in 2 minutes, I'm sure he probably runs the show there. But does he not have a speaker in his helmet then? Do you say, hey, our quarterback doesn't need it because he's calling the plays, let's put it in the center's helmet so we can get him some key valuable information during the game?
Isn't it interesting, too, because the big question about everybody is, why aren't they running the ball? Why aren't they doing play action? And then if the narrative that's getting out is that, well, Tom's calling all the plays, it's like, so Tom doesn't want to run the ball or play action? That makes no sense for the last 20 years of watching him play quarterback. It's just, I don't know, the push that it's Tom. Tom's taking a lot of blame for everything down there. And I guess that's what happens, though, when you're the GOAT, by the way. That's heavy is the head to where's the goat. You know what I mean, dude? Just the way it's going to go. Hey, Connor, another great segment out of you, buddy. You teased it terribly in the first hour, but this is a good segment out of you.
Yeah.
Baby Connor.
Let's go.
Baby Connor.
Baby Connor. And shout out to all those other sports shows for giving us something that we're probably supposed to do without us having to actually do it because we're not great at it. Sex is cool, but have you ever tried in built-in underwear?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I have.
Everyone knows Bird Dog shorts, but now they make pants. They stole Lululemon's designer, and now they're just doing it better. Bird Dogs are pants, but they have the underwear already built in. They look exactly like khakis or chinos, but they feel like silky, soft pajamas. There are work pants, golf pants, happy hour pants, workout pants, sleep pants, you name it. They're all-terrain pants, good for any type of occasion. They look damn good while doing it. The comfort, oh, so cool. The fit, fantastic. The material's majestic. The stretch is needed, especially when you do leg days. AJ?
Hell yeah.
You ever do this?
Sometimes, yeah. Not like you, though.
Go to birddogs.com and enter promo code McAfee, and they'll throw in a free pair of nunchucks. Yes,
Wow.
you heard that right. Nunchucks. You get an actual murder weapon along with your bird dogs. That's birddogs.com, promo code McAfee, and boom, a free pair of nunchucks with your pair of bird dogs. You will not take these things off, I promise you. We do love those, and the nunchucks are real. They're not fake-ass nunchucks. These are real nunchucks. Shout out to Bird Dogs. Birddogs.com, promo code McAfee. Hour 2 wrapping up here. On the other side, AJ will still be joining us until he can't anymore because we have a call with Mark Schlereth. We'll talk more about Ravens Steelers. We'll answer some phone calls. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. I'm going to finish this smoked brisket that's unbelievable. You have about 6 minutes until hour 3 on this Sirius XM Channel 82 Mad Dog Sports Radio show continues. Go take a shit. We'll see you on the other side.
Lakers, welcome to the Blender, the home of a team and a fan base on a playoff push the likes the world has never seen before. Crescent City, get on your feet for tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Sprite, an incredibly refreshing drink. Starting at forward was the number 2 overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft. Now he's an NBA All-Star, Brandon Ingram. At forward, this man has been dunking on little white kids on the internet for 10 years. The incomparable, unstoppable, 6'6" phenom, Zion Williamson. At center, standing at 8 feet tall, from Georgia Tech, number 22, Derek Favors. This man's family had a reality show in Lithuania. He was born and raised in LA, but he found his J in Vienna. Lonzo Ball. And the OG of the roster. On the court, he's a monster. Braids hanging, shots banging. It's not Drew, it's Drew Holiday. Let's get this done. Thank you very much. Go Pelicans.
Tired of me right now.
That's how you play basketball.
I'm so nervous now. some bowls, the Red Panda, fly back to Indianapolis. Success story, Foxy. What a fucking night.
Look, I don't understand the whole legal gambling thing. I've been gambling illegally my whole life. I don't get what you mean by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Dude, illegal gambling is done. It stinks. Legal gambling is the greatest thing of all time. FanDuel Sportsbook has so many good bets. They even refund bets that they think didn't deserve to lose. They got all the spreads. They got same game parlays. You have to start gambling on FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal state. And that's not the only thing. They make it so easy to withdraw and deposit money. You can just link your bank, deposit whatever you want, withdraw whatever you want, whenever you want. Yes, I mean, this please. truly is the greatest sports gambling app out there.
He's right about the banking. It is the greatest, but you really don't understand the bets that this sports book has. They have in-game bets. They have in-game parlays, and he said it, but I'm going to say it again. The odds at this place are the best, and once you download FanDuel Sportsbook, we are going to take all of their money. All of their money. Right? Right? Right?
FanDuel! 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 FanDuel!
The Pat McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, hour 3 on this afternoon NFL Football Wednesday. December 2nd begins right. Did it already happen?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Oh, I hit it or I missed it? I don't know.
Oh, you hit it.
I can't hear the music, AJ, when I'm speaking, but what I can hear is your wonderful voice. AJ Hawk joining us for the next 20 minutes here in this hour 3, Sirius XM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. A lot of things are happening on the internet. Our Herb Street piece about the Michigan-Ohio State shit that got him into, some turmoil last night is cooking because I believe Michigan is canceling their game this weekend against Maryland because of something going on. So that's kind of starting to cook on the internet. That has not been 100% sold yet. Okay, I'm just telling you the internet is cooking, saying that the Michigan-Maryland game probably going to be canceled this weekend. Is that because of what Herb Street said? Are they having a virus outbreak over there? We just want to know. We hope everybody survives. Hope everybody survives, AJ.
We do. People claimed that Maryland was doing that against Ohio State when they had to cancel their game.
Whoa.
Are you saying that? Did you just?
I didn't say that. I live in Ohio, so naturally people in Ohio think that happened.
Well, people in Ohio think a lot of awesome things. I mean, that state is, I don't think a lot of people talk about Ohio just in general, and I'm from Pennsylvania, obviously, went to school in West Virginia. I'm in Indiana. You heard Nick just say good there, but Ohio people are just a complete different strain of human. It's something that you got to be there and you got to know people from Ohio to experience it. Ain't that right, AJ?
I don't know. It's all I know, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I meant. Let's get some phone calls here. We got Mark Schlereth joining us in about 20 minutes or so. Can't wait to chat with him about everything going on in the world. Let's go to Chad down there in Texas. What's going on, Chad?
Hey, what's going on, Pat? How are y'all today?
Hey, not too shabby. How are you?
Man, doing good, man. Shout out to Doug Peterson for knowing good analytical football and covering that 6.5 for me Monday night. Smart move.
Hang up on him.
See you later. Can't wait to talk to you again, Chad. Chad waited on hold for a while, and I apologize, Chad. I had to hang up on you there, but I would like to let you know, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. Maybe next time that particular thing, kind of fucked me over pretty bad. So you just rubbed it in my face, Chad. My show, not yours. That's how things are going to go. I'm sure if we saw each other in Texas down there in Lone Star State, we'd probably put our cowboy hats on, our boots on, and chug a beer together, but I just can't have you rubbing my face in goddamn Doug Peterson's decision-making like that.
So you're going to take him back, though? You're going to put him on hold and bring him back on later?
No, I hung up on him. He'll probably won't ever get in again because it's very hard to get on the phone line. So Chad did not deserve that, I don't think, you know what I mean? But he decided to open a call up like that instead of ending with it, so that's on him, not on me.
Got it.
But congrats to him for winning his bet. Way to go, Chad. I mean, Chad and I probably would have got along if I had to guess. Maybe another time. Let's go to Hench in New York. Hench. Oh, shit.
Hey, how you doing? Just want to wish you luck down there at War Games this weekend.
Thank you so much, man. I got to pass a physical. They checked my heart. I just got kicked out of the goddamn screen sharing thing again for the second day in a row. So we literally can't hang up on Hench. So, Hench, I just want to let you know you got a lot of control over what's going on right now. Ty, I need you to go over there and send me the password to get back into this thing. Hench, this weekend, wild time. Got a physical this morning on the heart and all the vitals. I feel like I'm alive. I'll be able to find out tomorrow if I am or not. Thanks for calling in. What do you want to talk about, pal?
I want to talk about the 49ers and if they can make a push for playoffs with all the adversity and obstacles they got to face moving the games out of state and such.
I think it's going to be difficult. The 49ers this year has been quite a speed bump for the 49ers. I mean, let alone all the COVID positives and players getting hurt and everything like that. Kyle Shanahan has been coaching his ass off, and now they sweep the Rams. Obviously, they win 2 games there against the Rams. But the thought that they're just going to be able to move to Arizona for their operations for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever, and it not have an effect on the human beings involved when they're not really in the playoff picture, I think that is kind of naive to say. I think it is going to potentially be a little bit of something they're going to have to go through a little bit.
Yeah, don't you think it's going to get old pretty quickly for those guys? And I understand you say it all the time. You guys get paid a bunch of money to play a kid's game. Yeah, but hey, it's just they're doing something that other teams, I guess, don't have to do. But we knew coming into this year that it wasn't exactly going to be like a fair and equal playing field.
That's insane, isn't it? I mean, there's 32 teams. Okay, 31 other teams are able to play, but Santa Clara County said, "Not fucking here, pal. No way, can't do it. You've been doing it all year." Okay, but you guys out there playing football is potentially jeopardizing the rest of our community, I guess.
Brutal.
It all makes sense. They don't
pay
I ran
attention.
some numbers. I did run some numbers. I want to let everybody know. And I think we do have some optimism with the numbers that I ran. And I mentioned it earlier. 100% survival rate of all college football players and NFL players who have had COVID. 100% survival rate.
Huh.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit of optimism. Now, what's going to happen 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road? We have no idea. But what if Pedialyte's got something in it that 25 years down the road is going to take you out? I mean, if we live in our fears for decades down the road, we can start getting into that game for everything. You know what I mean? We can start getting into that. What if this chain that I have on is somehow offsetting something in my neck because of how goddamn deliciously heavy it is? And then 20 years from now, I guess we can do that forever, obviously. And there's smarter people that are in charge of looking out. But I'm just saying, at the current time being, we have a 100% survival rate of COVID. When it comes to players in college football and the NFL, and that is not something that it's ever talked about. So congratulations for all the players, and also being able to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge our way through this entire season, AJ.
I mean, that's a great thing. Our goal is to keep it that way, right? And find a way to continue to play these college football games.
Okay, so I'm getting told that I'm supposed to listen to the entire press conference here of Anthony Lynn. Because I guess old Popper at The Athletic potentially could have taken that out of context or whatever. But there was multiple quotes about that thing. Zito, do you have this thing pulled up?
The tweet?
Yeah, the tweet that has from Lucas Murphy at Luke Never Shaves.
Oh, you want the video? The video's going to be hard.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get to it. I'll get to it. Let's see what he has to say here.
That's why I asked first off, like,
a good day of work. Have you talked to them, and what have you said to them about this point in the season and finishing off and trying to finish off strong?
Well, I always try to tell the guys what we're playing for. Whenever we're in the hunt, to get in the tournament, I always, lay that out for those guys because I think yes, it's important to stay in the moment, in the present, but I always want to show these young men, the big picture every once in a while. But we talked about today, playing for each other. The playoff hunt is probably not going to happen at this point. 8-8 is the best we can do, and I don't think that's going to be good enough. But we play for each other, and we play for the love of the game.
So it wasn't really taken out of context.
No.
That's exactly what he said. All right.
But he did say, but didn't he say to start that off, like, we know we still, like, he let him know we're still alive, though?
Not really, did he?
He say something about, like, we still have a chance, or, like, we still, but then at the end, he's like, well, it's probably not going to happen. But he started that whole thing off, it sounded like, by saying there's still a chance.
I don't know, and I respect the honesty or whatever, and the players know that, by the way. Whenever you're going to, players can see through the bullshit or whatever. But the fact that you're not, the angle I'd be pitching is, and I'm not a head coach, obviously. Maybe one day I will be. Maybe I'll get out there and do, hey, boys, how we doing? And somebody's defense coordinator, somebody's offense coordinator, and I would just blame them for everything. And I'll tell them, I'll talk to them. You know what I mean? I will talk to them and let this whole thing get figured out, because what a cake gig that is. Now, granted, you got to set up the day-to-day, and I understand running a schedule and operations is difficult. But I think what you say to them is, hey, it's 2020. COVID's running wild on everybody. We got a game on a Wednesday at 3:40. Okay, although we don't look like we're in it right now, there's a chance that anything could happen. There might be 16 teams in the goddamn playoffs this year. We still have a lot on the line if we want to come here and buy in and get this thing together. Now, have we played our best football yet for 4 quarters? No. Have we made bad decisions that I have not really enforced or talked about or coached better? No. But we can still have time to make it into the dance if we go. 8-8 is still a possibility. And by the way, we might only need 7 if this goes to 16. We have no idea what's going to happen. I just think that is – now, Anthony Lynn, you got to do what you got to do. You're a head coach. You obviously know better than I am. But I just feel like there's a lot of different ways to go about it, as opposed to, hey, boys, playing for each other now, all right? We're going to roll the ball out there, and we're playing for each other. So although I guess Popper didn't explain the entire thing with his tweet, because you only have 200 and whatever characters now, even though shout out to 140 characters, Twitter was probably better than. Mm-hmm. He didn't do the entire thing, I guess. But I don't think he took it out of context that much.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not like an egregious thing. Like, I don't think Anthony Lynn would fight against it. That's what he said. But, yeah, I mean, I guess the head coach's job, you're right, is to be, to, like, lead the team. Like, you got to have one, like, all these guys coming together fighting for one common goal. And especially if you're Anthony Lynn, he's not calling the defense or the offense, so that's his gig. Like, hey, I'm the motivator. I'm the guy that puts this thing in place and makes sure I build the culture and make sure we're always finding a way to get better when it comes to that. But, like, day-to-day game planning and everything, I don't think he has a giant impact in that.
Bro, think about if they do rattle off wins and they make it in. The players will be like, who believed in this other than us? Not even fucking you. You know what I mean? Like, because normally the rally is nobody outside of this locker room thought that we could do this. That's normally like, nobody thought we could do this or whatever. What if the players see, this is where I'd be good in the locker room. This is where I would be good in the locker room. At the end of this, if they rattle off a bunch of wins and they make it, who thought we could do this? And everybody, yeah, and I'm like, not even that guy. Not even a goddamn head coach. It's a tough. I just don't think that is well done there. And the internet's going to tell me I'm wrong or whatever because he's telling the truth, But it's like, okay, he's telling the truth. That's what pundits are supposed to do. Not a leader of men, okay? And the men are also people that are running their faces into people for that. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, you should be, hey, by the way, you make it in the playoffs, more money. There's more, whatever your motivation is, playoffs is good. Whatever, let's say you want legacy, cool. Playoffs are still available. Now, there's going to have to be a lot that happens, okay? COVID's going to have to take somebody out, not death, but a game. 16 teams are going to have to make in there week 18. There's going to have to be some things that happen. But legacy is still on the line. More money, guaranteed checks is on the line. Like, there's like, I don't know. And maybe that's not the right way to go about it, but that seems stupid to me. Emmett just put a name in here from Florida. Hesus. I would assume that guy's name is Jesus, right? And he just put it there. Let's go to Jaime in Wisconsin. What's going on, Jaime? Fucking Emmett, you're classic, dude. You are the best.
How's it going, guys?
Jaime, it's not too shabby. What do you got going on, bub?
I just want to say happy birthday to Aaron Rodgers, the GOAT.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, we forgot about that. Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
We sang to him yesterday.
And I just want to say, what team in, like, the new wild card or whatever do you think could go all the way?
Oh, can you set up the thank you for your question, Jaime. Happy birthday to Aaron. Zito, can you put that playoff picture thing back up for the AFC and the NFC? Let's go through it. Because you got to look in the Indy hunt. Who's going to be a team that potentially comes out and surprises somebody? Because it's the wild card in the AFC. You got the Steelers, obviously, at the 1 seed. They'll have a bye week if they can continue, even though Kansas City Chiefs seem to be getting hot at 2. The Titans and the Bills, both 8-3, they're not going to be able to get the number 1 spot overall. Seems like the Titans probably going to win the AFC South because who knows what's going to happen with the Colts. By the way, update on the Colts. Rigoberto Sanchez, cancerous tumor surgery removal yesterday went well, from what I've been told. I talked to him last night. Seemed like he was in good spirits as well. So shout out to Rigoberto, man. We T's and P's for you get back. And I have not gotten a single call on whether or not I would like to punt for the Colts, by the way.
Interesting.
Not even a single message. Not even anything. I'm still under contract with them, right? I'm not. They literally own my rights. And I'm in the best shape I've been in probably since, I don't know, not even a single ask.
Well, Ballard knows you have war games.
Ballard does know that I have war games. And also, I don't know if I could do a 6-day hiatus, which is what you have to do to get back in there. So maybe Chris Ballard, maybe they're like, McAfee, and Ballard's like, you think he's going to sit down for 6 days in a goddamn hotel? There's no way. So that's Ballard being smarter than anything. But I didn't even get a text. Not even a text, which, by the way, I wouldn't have done it. So it's not like I'm that bummed about it. But Rigoberto Sanchez, things have gone well. Let's go back to that playoff picture, though, shall we? Because the Colts could still get going, I guess. So then the Titans and the Colts would swap there. The Dolphins at 7-4. I mean, that AFC East is a hilarious one. The Bills are there right now. The Bills get a massive win over the Chargers last week, even though the Chargers probably could have got into that game if they had any sense of what the fuck was going on in the game. Browns, we talked to Jarvis. I think that culture is one where they're not settled at there. So let's assume that those 7 teams are going to get in there. Now, if it gets to an 8th, you've got to think, no, look at the Patriots just sitting there, Connor. Look at the Patriots in there at 5-6 in the hunt.
Just gonna miss
alongside
it.
the Raiders at 6-5. They might be broken after that Falcons game. And then today, the 6-4 Ravens, they're probably going to move to 6-5, I think we all assume. So maybe in the AFC, I don't see a surprise team. Do you see any surprise teams here to go on a run out of the AFC that you see on this screen here, AJ?
I don't see any surprise teams. Like the majority of these teams that are in the wild card and in the hunt wouldn't shock me. But what would surprise me is if the Patriots made a run in the playoffs. Like I don't think they're built to make a run.
Yeah, but if they made the playoffs, I think we'd all be pretty shocked.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't give them a great chance of making a run if they do make the playoffs.
All right, let's go over the NFC, Zito. Let's see what the NFC's got cooking right now. The Saints, Packers, Seattle Seahawks, and the New York Football Giants are the 4 division leaders to host a home game in the NFC. Then you got the LA Rams, who are so hit or miss, it's unbelievable. The Buccaneers at 6, and the Cardinals also hit or miss at 7. And then you got basically every other team in the NFC still in the hunt. The Bears, the Vikings, the Niners, the Washington football team, the Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys. And that's only because the Washington, Philly, and Dallas are in there because who knows what's going to happen in the NFC East, even though the Giants are up there. I think, you know what? How about this? I think the Vikings, after this conversation with Kirk Cousins, I think the Vikings are a team that could surprise some people and maybe win a game or 2 in the playoffs.
They could. But who was the wild card? Was what? Rams, Bucks, and who was the third team?
Cardinals.
Cardinals. All 3 of those teams, I have no idea. Like what from game to game, I don't know what team they are. Like if you want to go throw them in that trust factor question that Connor so eloquently put together earlier, like those are 3 teams that I don't know. I can't tell week to week who they're going to be.
So what would your trust be on them?
Low, like 2.5.
Jeez, dude.
Wow.
It's in the
For all of
dumpster.
them?
Well, that's the thing with them. If it's a good night, hey, my trust level is about 9. If it's a bad night, my trust level is about 1. And I just don't know before the game who they're going to be.
And by the way, they've been real heartbreakers in the gambling world because of that trust factor at 2 for a lot of them in some nights. Let's go to Jesus in Florida. What's going on, Jesus?
Hey, not much, guys. Love the show. Love the brand. Love the boys. First-time caller. Just love the show, guys.
We love you, Jesus. Appreciate you. What part of Florida are you in, man?
Daytona Beach area.
A lot of fans down there in Daytona, dude. It might have to go down to Daytona, by the way. Seems like our type of place. Jesus, what do you want to talk about, brother?
So I was calling in reference to what you guys had mentioned earlier about the comments by Kirk Herbstreit about, that he had to apologize for, which I get. But my question is, do you think maybe low-key he did that on purpose to kind of put Michigan on the spot so they don't do what some of those other teams are doing, by bitching out, being like, hey, I don't want to play because, we're not going to be able to compete. And that way also they don't screw it over for the Big Ten. That way we have somebody in the hunt for a playoff berth.
Oh, Jesus, good thinking there. Maybe a little reverse osmosis going on by Herbie saying, I apologize for what I said. Obviously, I shouldn't have said that or whatever. But whenever you put something out into the light now, if it comes to fruition, especially after a guy gets crushed for it, then he's going to come out and do a victory tour. And does Michigan want Kirk Herbstreit, Ohio State legend, to come out on a victory parade because what he said happened? No. That's a great way to look at that, Jesus. Maybe this is like a reverse psychology situation with old Herbie.
I don't know if it's that. Kirk's a great actor then if that's the case, because it looked like in the moment he got caught up and made those Michigan comments and then kind of went back and clarified and then put the apology video out. So if he is doing this, if he's trolling, I don't know why you're staring through the camera, but I think I don't think it was done on purpose. But hey, if it gets Michigan out there, if it spurs action to where teams are going to do whatever they can to get on the field, then hey, then it worked.
It worked. The Michigan-Maryland game, has that been officially canceled, boys?
Believe so.
Yes, sir.
It has been officially canceled. Okay, so Michigan-Maryland, we hope everybody survives over there. We don't know if it was canceled because teams didn't have enough players to put a team that they liked on the field or if they didn't have enough players to play a game. I mean, that is TBD. Herbstreit took a lot of heat last night. We don't think he should have. I just think he should have delivered his message a little bit different.
The reason why we were given on Twitter was that Michigan has COVID issues.
Yeah, see, but that's...
Yeah, I know.
What other issue would it have been?
Well, I'm saying it wasn't a Maryland thing.
Bro.
I assumed it was COVID issues on either the Maryland side or the Michigan side, or both.
Well, I clarified for you.
Thank you.
It's very nice of you, Tone. Tone, AJ dunked on you twice today.
He does it all the time, dude.
He dunked on you twice today, and you don't deserve that. He's got a game coming up in what? An hour and 18 minutes. Dig's got a big game coming up, and here you are just dunking on him. Hey, Ty, what do you got to say? Then also, hey, no shit, Tone. It's 2020, dude. Everybody's talking about COVID. AJ, we got to let you go because Schler's coming on. Any final thoughts for Ty, Tone, or the people listening or watching anywhere?
No, I'm going to watch the Schlereth interview like everybody else. I'm excited. I think he's great when he comes on here. There's a bunch of insight, and he's actually very entertaining, too.
Any questions you want me to ask him from you?
Ask him who the best O-lineman in the NFL is right now.
Who the best O-lineman is. All right, I appreciate you. We'll do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk, appreciate you, dude.
Hey.
We got to get to a break. Mark Schlereth joins us on the other side to wrap up this NFL Wednesday afternoon kickoff show here on SiriusXM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. This is Pat McAfee Show. You got about 4 minutes. We'll see you on the other side.
Those plane rides home from an away game, an away victory, are some of the best times I've ever had in my entire life. And it's dudes at 35,000 feet with a terrible sound system because you have you have somebody's cell phone going into that over the plane. And it was just like it was like real happiness for a lot of people on that team. I don't think they experienced a lot of real happiness because of how focused they were on their jobs. There were a lot of older guys. So like their only moments of happiness, I think, were those flights home. Like after a big win, like genuine happiness. Their entire life was dedicated to football. So all week, all they were thinking about was the game. And then that trip home, that like 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it was like a moment for them just to completely like relax and not worry about next week or the past week, their family, nothing. We're at 35,000 feet, nobody else around us except for us. That is a real moment that I don't think a lot of people know about or appreciate, is the flights home from away victories are incredible. Absolutely incredible. Those are good times, man. Really good times. You got people singing. My favorite story is of an offensive lineman, and I won't say his name, but he was asked to sing right? So if a rookie's asked to sing, like, you got to go sing. So he grabbed the microphone, and he didn't know that the owner's daughter just so happened to be on the team's plane, sitting up in the very front or in the very back. So they kind of have it off. So he kind of got comfortable in his current surrounding and didn't know about the entire surroundings. And he grabbed that thing, and he was not expected to sing the song. I fornicated 2 bad ladies at the same damn time. At the same damn time. At the same damn. And then he started feeling it because a lot of people were like, okay, yeah. Big white guy. Massive white guy. Nobody thought he was going to sing this song. So everybody starts like gassing him up. You know, he's like, I fornicated 2. He starts yelling into this thing. And then all of a sudden you see a little assistant from the front come waltzing back the aisle and grabbing the phone out of his hand. And he's like, what? Like yelling at him while the thing's still on. So now the entire plane hears him yelling at this assistant. And he like puts the phone down, and we're all like, oh no, like no fun. All right. They're like, Carly Ursay's on this plane. We're like, oh. Everybody just puts their headphones on, sits right back down. Just an hour and a half of silence. That kid thought he was getting cut immediately off the plane. And he did. And he did.
I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC-regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us. I love it. The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Take this one.
I couldn't find it, boys.
It's all right.
You know what I was looking for, too.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah. Could just sing it if you want.
What's going on here? Is it... Oh, it's me on... Oh, that was funny. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on this NFL afternoon Wednesday, December 2nd. I'm live down here in Orlando at the WWE Performance Center. Had a physical yesterday. Got the vitals and everything checked this morning to see if I'm healthy enough to get into the War Games match this upcoming Sunday. NXT tonight, 8 o'clock, by the way. I know a lot of people potentially watching the Christmas tree get lit on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
But NXT, 8 o'clock, USA Network should be a good time as well. Joining us now is a man who is a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, called the Saints Broncos absolute electric factory this past weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, our friend Mark Schreier.
Yeah!
How's it going, Stink?
It's going good, man. How are you? You know, I mean, I've gotten a lot of questions about, I think you went on an epic rant about broadcasters. Did you go on this epic rant? And so then I read, somebody sent me something that the Sports Illustrated guy, I don't know if you talked to him or if he just went off on your epic rant and said, you know, like this guy and this guy, but I hate the boring broadcasters like Schlereth. And I'm like, this turd has never even watched me call a game. I guarantee it's like me reading his headline and telling him he sucks at writing. I guarantee you he's never even seen me call a game. So whoever that turd was from Sports Illustrated, I got my eye on you.
Well, I'll tell you what, said person you're talking about, too, he said that I should name names and do all this shit and all that. And I'm like, yo, bud, I don't think it's some of the – and by the way, you know that I obviously was not talking about you. Like, you obviously know that. But there are some guys –
Even if you were, I don't care. I'd still come on your show.
No, but there are some guys – and the reason why I didn't name names is because I think the people that are putting the people in those positions, I think they're the ones wrong. Like there's some guys that should not be in commentator booths. Like there are some guys that should not be sharing our game. You know what I mean? Our league. Like there's some people that their voice, their brain, the way they speak, for whatever reason, maybe they're good at something else and they were good on the field, they should not be calling games. So that's why I didn't want to call names, because I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I think it's the people that are making the decisions. You know what I mean? But the fact that you got attacked in that whole thing, I kind of like that.
Yeah, no, it's all good, and you're 100% right. You know how the business works. I mean, oftentimes it's not about your ability. It's about it's about the way you look, or the career that you had, or the position that you played. And that, which I think is absolute garbage. If you study the game and you work hard, you do your thing, and you're entertaining and you can have fun doing it. The only reason I got in this business in the first place was to entertain myself, because I think I'm damn funny. And if you don't like it, I don't really give a crap. A long time ago when I first got in this business, somebody told me something that I adhered to. They said to me, it's a mentor of mine. They said, you want 50% of the people to hate you and 50% of the people to love you. And so I get done calling a game, I open up my phone, and 50% of the people absolutely love what I do. 50% of the people hate me with the white-hot intensity of 1,000 suns. And I'm like, great. I order a vodka soda, I get on the plane, and I'm done with it. I'm like, this is good. I succeeded today. So, if you don't like me, I don't care. Come get a taste. It doesn't matter to me. I'm good to roll. So I don't worry about what people think.
Hey, Stink, the thing about it is, that's wrestling, right? You just want some sort of reaction. That's like what wrestling is. You just, whether people hate you or love you, you want them to feel something. But whenever everybody thinks that you are just bad at what you do, that's called go away heat, that's called go away heat in wrestling. You don't want that in commentating. Like if you want people to either love you, hate you, you don't want the go away heat, which happens in wrestling, which is like, yo, we all agree you are in way over your head here and you shouldn't be here. And I don't think anybody's ever said that about old Mark Schlereth.
Well, I know nobody said about you in wrestling, because when you did the dipsy doodle backflip off the top rope there, I was just like that dude is, not only are you incredibly athletic, but you're a little bit touched, and I appreciate that about you. You're just a little bit there's a little something off with you, and that's good. That's a trait that I think is a quality trait that all of us should have.
Well, I'm in a steel cage match this Sunday, Mark. So if you want to talk about a little bit touch, I literally just got done with back-to-back days of physicals here to see if my body is good enough to go for a steel cage match Sunday night. Hey, let's go. Let's go, Mark.
So what was the results of the rectal thermometer exam?
So the temperature was good. Good. And by the way, especially with COVID, that's the most accurate way to figure out whether or not somebody's got a fever or not, because if you got a fever, allegedly, depending on which doctor you talk to, that could potentially mean that you have COVID or you don't have COVID,
Yeah. It's, hey, safety first is what I always say. Safety first. But not that you wanted to have this conversation, but I got to tell you this is the greatest probably practical joke of my NFL career. You ready for this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm playing in the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl 33. We're in Miami. So we're in the Miami facility because it's an AFC city, right? You know how it rolls. So we're in the Miami facility, and they got the hot tub and the cold tub, right? And so after practice, I'm in the cold tub for a while. Then I'm jumping in the hot tub, and I'm jumping in the cold tub and jumping in the hot tub. And they got one of them 12-inch thermometers that are floating in the hot tub, right, to see what the temperature is in there. So I grabbed the thermometer, and there's a Miami guy working in the area there that we are in the wet area that we're at. And I said, hey man, go get our head trainer. It's Steve Antonopoulos. We call him Greek. I said, go get our head trainer. Something's wrong with me, man. Something's terribly wrong with me. And so he comes running out there, right? And now Greek comes in, and the assistant trainers come in, and all the Miami staff comes in. And I'm standing butt-ass naked on the top step of this walk-in hot tub. And they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I say, hey, Greek, man, something's wrong, man. I don't feel good, man. I'm dizzy. Something's going on here. I don't know what's going on. Like if I'm having a stroke or a heart attack or whatever. And he's like, calm down. I go, hey, just do me a favor. I go, check my temperature. And I had that 12-inch thermometer jammed up my ass cheeks. And I just turned around and showed it to him. And, dude, it was the funniest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I bump into guys that work for the Miami Dolphins right now. And they're like, You're a sick. You know what? You're like
You want to know
like,
how
that's
I
the
was
guy
introduced
right
to
there.
you, Stink? This is how I was introduced. Do you remember? And you go, "Oh yeah, it was the best thing I've ever done in my life." We practiced at the same facility, by the way. Whenever we were down there,
Oh yeah.
it was wild. Palm trees outside the field. Like, we had just come from Indianapolis. It was 10 degrees outside. You go out, palm trees everywhere. It was like, man, I don't know if this would be a good place for me to play at. This seems like a vacation down
Well, Alfred Williams came in. He came in after we had like Monday night off, and we all went to have dinner and stuff with our team groups.
Oh,
and they had this big giant grease board in there, in the locker room, right? And he walks in. It's like Tuesday or it's Wednesday, first day of practice, whatever it was. I think it was Wednesday. So they went out Tuesday night, and he wrote 10 reasons that the Miami Dolphins will never win the Super Bowl. And then he listed the 10 strip clubs he had been in the night before. Like, there's no way you could win a Super Bowl in this environment. Absolutely impossible.
Well, as soon as you get past the Tootsies and King of Diamonds, right, they all kind of blur together. But we had some boys who got sent home early because of those 10 reasons as well. They had quite a Tuesday night, from what I have been told. Obviously, told.
But what you've heard.
You won 3 Super Bowls. I remember the week of the Super Bowl, and they had already, the group that I was with, obviously Peyton's squad, they had already won one. So I think it was a much different vibe than maybe the first time. Because like the first time you go to the Super Bowl, I think there's a lot of people trying to figure out because everything's a production. Practice is a production. You got celebrities. Practices aren't even real that week. It's like they're nowhere near as intense as they are back in your home place. Like, you're still doing practice, but it's different. It feels like spring practice almost, with the amount of people that you had around. And I guess there's still like you big guys probably hit each other still, but it was a very different feeling than any other week. And whenever you win 3 of them, I think handling all the bullshit that comes from Super Bowl week is a massive part of winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And, I was fortunate to come up on really mature teams. And, my first year in Washington, we stayed the whole first week. We stayed, in Washington. And we went back. We didn't even game plan. We went back to training camp practice. We beat the snot out of one another. And then we went in, and it was the first. I mean, it was a different era, but it was the first time. Friday practice was the first time. Friday practice at the Super Bowl was the first time that we took our shoulder pads off during the year. Wow! It was the first time we didn't hit on a Friday, and our practice was so intense on Thursday that Joe Gibbs was standing there talking to John Madden. Goes, I had to take them out of pads because they're going to kill each other. Like, we are so ready to play. And then my 2 years in Denver, we game planned during the week, and we did the first week in Denver, and then we went on the road, and our practices were so sharp. I mean, a ball never hit the ground. And so they were like an hour and 15 minutes. They were in and out. We were done. Yes. And so they were great. But you're 100% right. The first time I ever went as a broadcaster to cover a Super Bowl, it was New Orleans, and it was the Patriots versus the Rams. And like I said, we played on these really mature teams. So we were always, like, we stayed sequestered. Like, it was like a business trip. And I never got out. And it was the first time I ever went out during a Super Bowl week. And I was like, holy crap, look at all this is like a big deal. Like, I think it would have freaked me out as a player to realize what a big deal the Super Bowl actually was. Like, you see all the celebrities and all the other players that come out and all the appearance money and everything else. I was a big fat offensive lineman, so I never got offered any appearance money for doing it.
Oh, Mark, you deserved it, though.
Well, I didn't get any of it, but I appreciate that. But, yeah, it was the first time I ever realized, man, this is a big deal. It's a really big deal.
Yeah, it was interesting because I think the sharp thing is right. It was like a very quick practice. Caldwell wanted us to be the fastest, freshest team on the field every single week, right? Because we had an older team and a mature team.
Yeah.
And I just remember the Super Bowl week just being like, man, this is interesting. Because there was, I forget who, we had like 7 people that I didn't even know they were fans of the team, that were celebrities, that were just walking around practice. And it was Miami, obviously, so you got a bunch of shit popping off. It was just,
right.
It was very interesting to win. That's why the Patriots thing is so, I mean, there's numerous things about the Patriots thing that is so impressive. But any team that's able to win on a consecutive basis there, I think once you get to your second or third Super Bowl, it almost makes it easier than the first one whenever you get there. But getting back to the Super Bowl is so incredibly difficult. I mentioned the guy's name there, Jim Caldwell. And I loved him as a coach. I did. I liked him as a man. I liked him as a coach. He suspended me for a game after I got a public intoxication because I was 100% intoxicated, but allegedly other stuff happened or whatever. And he and I had great interactions, great conversations, and I really appreciated him. Then he goes to Detroit, obviously, after we fire him, and he kind of moves on. And he gets fired from Detroit after having winning seasons there, right? And that's something that never happens in Detroit. And then now he said that he took a physical. He had calcium in his body. He's lost 30 pounds. He's been away from the game for like 12 months. He was an advisor or consultant for the Vikings. And the headline was that he alludes to the fact that the Ford family got duped by Matt Patricia and Hiram, which wasn't at all what he said, by the way. It was a headline that was taken completely out of context. But whenever you think about a guy like Jim Caldwell, who was a successful head coach, and then you see all these bad head coaches that still have jobs, it's very interesting, the whole hiring process. Like, for instance, out in Denver, like Vic Fangio, he probably doesn't have a job after this year. You guys will be looking for coaches. It feels like people get it wrong more often than not. Why is that, Mark? Why do people get it wrong whenever you're trying to find a guy to lead a group of men? Why is that?
I think it's interesting that you even ask it, because I just look at it like it's not about the X's and O's nearly as much as about your ability to command an audience. And you have to be able to think about all the different interactions that you have to have on a day-to-day basis, but you have to command the message, command your audience. You have to be authentic in doing that. So you have to command the coaches, the group of coaches that you're coaching, because ultimately you lose some of the connectivity you have with players as a head coach, and you move on to coaching the coaches. So there's got to be that connectivity, and you've got to command that coach's office. They have to respect the heck out of what you're doing. Then you've got to command all your players and stand in front of them, command that audience and be in charge of that. And then you've got to be able to do that with the media, both locally and nationally. And, I'll go back to when the Giants hired, what was the guy's name? Ben McAdoo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's from Pittsburgh, but it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. He showed up in a coat that he borrowed from one of the offensive linemen. It was, I'm like, as soon as I saw it, I saw that interview, the initial, hey, welcome to be the Giant. I go, that guy will not be respected. You know this. Players have unbelievable horse sense. Like, none of us are, I always say that genius and football are mutually exclusive events. You're not a genius if you're playing or coaching. Come on, strap a piece of plastic on your head and slam it into other people, right? And then, that's your job. And, I'm not a genius. I'm not that bright. I'm a general studies major from the University of Idaho. That means my education is an inch deep and a mile wide. I know a lot of stuff about or little stuff about a lot of things. That's all I know. So you're not that bright. You're playing in the National Football League, or you're coaching. As soon as I saw that guy, I was like, the players are just going to sniff that guy out in a heartbeat. You're wearing some jacket. You're you're looking like Chris Farley. I'm like, this is not going to work. You just hired, what was his character's name? Down by the river,
Hell yeah. Fogel.
Yeah. So
Foley. There it is.
Yeah, Matt Foley. So there's just I think that people get enamored with guys who, come from a program, or guys that, are great with X's and O's and all this. To me, you got to be authentic, man. You got to walk in there, and regardless of where you came from, you got to be you. Because if you're not, players will sniff it out in a second. And this is a player. You watch a guy walk in and he looks the part, and then you see him and you're like, nah, that guy can't play. That guy's never going to make it.
Well, and then also, whenever you watch a coach and you see how he handles day to day, and then you see him on game day, and you're like, oh, this guy's fake. He doesn't believe what he's saying, because on game day he's completely changed the way he is. And I'm not saying that I've ever experienced that with coaches, but I see some coaches on the sideline, game day is too big for them. Everybody talks about players getting choking or whatever, but there's been some coaches that I see either on other sidelines or even on our team at positions where game day, they just lose their mind. It's well, all week we're preaching hey, this is just do your job. Here we go, this whole thing. And then on game day, your ass gets puckered up so tight you can't even operate. It's there's only a few people, I think, that are incredible coaches. And I always thought Jim Caldwell was a great one. Him getting fired from Detroit, and then obviously what has happened there, I've always been confused. How does it happen? How do the people who have billions of dollars, now, and nepotism happens, obviously the money gets passed down or whatever, but how can you be that successful and not be able to read whether or not a human who's going to run your billion-dollar business is able to do it
Right.
or not. That's just a very interesting thing for me, that whole process.
I think one of the things, and I've said this forever, like oftentimes organizations and owners think your ability to communicate comes with your age. Like, hey, you'll be better at communicating with our young players if you're a young coach. And I think that has nothing to do with anything. Like, you can either communicate with players. Like, one of the guys that has the best relationship I have ever seen over the course of my career of not only playing, but also broadcasting is Wade Phillips. I mean, Wade Phillips is 100 years old. And I'm telling you what, the guys love playing for Wade Phillips. They absolutely love him. And his ability to communicate with his players from a younger generation is like as good as there is in this business. And to me, it has nothing to do with age. You either have that skill set or you don't have that skill set. But, if you find an offensive coordinator that's 34 years old, and yeah, that's like Viagra to 80-year-old owners. Like, they can't wait to hire that guy, right? They're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So, I mean, I think you have to do a better job of understanding what you're getting into.
Andy Reid, another one. I thought you were going to say Andy because you look at Travis Kelce, right? Travis Kelce is one of the best fashionably dressed humans I've ever encountered in my entire life. Going to go into Hall of Fame at tight end, unbelievable tight. And then you see him massaging Andy Reid's shoulders in the middle of a game. It's like there's just some people that can connect to people, motivate people. And I don't know if you heard this today. Anthony Lynn, in an attempt to be transparent and authentic, I think, to his credit, I guess it came out today that he told his team, like, hey, we're probably not going to make the playoffs this year. And it's like they're not mathematically completely eliminated from that. So I found that to be very interesting because every coach that I've ever been a part of, they're telling you, like, all right, here's how it's going to work. Listen, this team, Chuck, this team needs to win. Okay, this team needs to tie. But wouldn't we be sick if we don't do our job and these two things happen and we could have made the dance, but we don't do it? Like, I feel like that's a massive part of being a leader is like saying, like, hey, it's 2020. COVID could take out anybody. We might have a 16-team playoff this year. That's being talked about. Everything is still potentially in front of us as opposed to like, hey, we're playing for each other this year now. It's like that's just a very coaching thing. I don't think there's enough talk about good and bad coaching, and it seems to come to the forefront a lot in games that matter and teams that matter.
Yeah, no, I definitely, Anthony Lynn and I were teammates, and I'm surprised, but at the same time, I'm like, the Chargers are going to charge her. I mean, he just he's being realistic. Like, he's like, hey, we're going to be up by 14 in the fourth quarter with 1:40, and we're going to find a way to lose this game. So that's just who you guys. Hey, that's who you guys are. That's not me. That's you guys. Like, you guys think. So I'm just letting you know it's on you. That's the ultimate. Don't point the finger, pull the thumb. That's the ultimate. We're just pointing the finger. You guys are just, you don't know how to win.
Hey, I don't know if you see this or
got
not.
Super Bowl rings. I got my rings. Like, you guys, we'll see you guys later.
I don't know if you see this or not, but I'm pointing all four fingers at you because they say whenever you're pointing one finger, you got three pointing back. But no, not this time, boys. This is you, 4 fingers and thumb. So,
yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about two really good coaches. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his time in the AFC North with the Pittsburgh Steelers in like 14 or 15 years. Unbelievable. Harbaugh, I think, has had a lot of success. This year, it seems like they're a very different team. They're playing in less than an hour on NBC in the middle of the week. How do you see this game going? The Steelers are 10-point or 10.5-point favorites. That feels like a lot in an AFC North game, depending upon – doesn't matter how many people are out of this thing. How do you see this going? What do you think they're saying to their teams right now?
Well, I mean, the Ravens got like 25 guys that are out on COVID right now.
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, come on. Like, really? And then they just put Marquise Pouncey on the COVID list, so they lost their starting center. Hey, man, anything can happen, obviously. The Steelers are fun. Like, I had the Steelers-Washington game coming up next week. So on Monday, I spent about 5 hours looking at Steelers tape, and then I got switched to Seattle, the Giants. So if anybody is doing that game and needs some information on the Steelers, I'm your guy. Just reach out. I share information. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to screw you. I'll give you the real skinny. But, one thing that I love about the Steelers is kind of how simplistic they are. They just execute. It's pretty simple route combinations. Ben Roethlisberger just getting the ball out of his hands really quickly. I've never seen a team, and all the teams I've covered this year so far, I've never seen a team in 4 wides, in 5 wides so much. Like, they'll get in Cinco, they'll get in 4 wides, they'll get in 10. They'll just be like, hey, man, we're good. Let's roll. And really quick underneath passing, like, get it out of my hand right now. Ben Roethlisberger is not interested in in taking big shots anymore, big hits. But they're really a poised football team offensively. And I just appreciate what Mike Tomlin's been able to accomplish there. Obviously, this game is kind of crazy because of all the COVID issues going on. And usually, to me, this is in a day and age where rivalries have kind of been lost to a degree. This is the one rivalry where these guys really hate each other. They really don't like each other. And so it's a shame that all the players for the Ravens, are out, or a lot of the players are out. But there'll be a lot of pride. John Harbaugh's a hell of a coach. He'll have them ready to go, and I'll take the Steelers by 20.
This is coming from a guy that watched Steelers tape for 5 hours on Monday, all for naught,
Yeah.
by the way. So take that for what it is. Tone, you enjoy hearing that right there? You have to feel good about what he just said there, Tone.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I say it comes with no merit, but if Mark watches tape and says it, then yeah, we're going to trust that and we're going to feel good about it.
He's a diehard Steelers fan right there. He has been pissed off about how this is, as all of Pittsburgh has been, by the way, about how this whole thing is unfolded.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, they're trouncing in from downtown and, sitting on their couch, and they're just complaining about what the heck's going on. My first coach, God rest his soul, Joe Bugle, was a PA guy. And he would say things to me, and I'd have to turn over to Jeff Boston and go, what the hell is he talking about? I have no idea what he just said there.
Mark, who's going to win the Super Bowl, dude?
Well, I will, like, NFC-wise, I see you guys have Aaron Rodgers on every week, and I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. There's no question about
I think, hey, by the way, hold on, before you get going, I think a lot of players have a lot more respect for Aaron than maybe most other people. Before this year where we got to learn about him, I think most athletes in most sports have a lot of respect for Aaron in the way he gets going and the way he does things, I think.
He's great, and I love greatness. And two, like, he's got just enough Richard Nine in him just to be like, I don't really give a crap what you think. And I like that about him. Like, just enough saltiness about him that intrigues me. So I like that about Aaron. He's such a good player. The teams that I've called, there is no more, in my mind, there is no deeper team in the National Football League, at least in the NFC, than the Saints. I mean, they have Pro Bowl, All-Pro players. Their left tackle's an All-Pro player. Their right tackle's an All-Pro player. Their left guard is a Pro Bowler. Their center's a Pro Bowler, in my mind. Alvin Kamara is an All-Pro player. Drew Brees is what he is, an All-Pro player. Mike Thomas is an All-Pro player. Emmanuel Sanders has been to Pro Bowls. Jared Cook has been to Pro Bowls. I mean, they are loaded. And then defensively, I didn't even, Cam Jordan's an All-Pro player. Trey Hendrickson is going to the Pro Bowl. He's one of the top leaders in sacks. David Onyemata is a great player. Demario Davis is an All-Pro player. They went out and got who's the linebacker? Quan Alexander is a great player. Marshawn Lattimore is an All-Pro player. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins is an All-Pro player. Like, they are top to bottom. They are the best team that I have covered this year. They are legit. And Sean Payton is a great coach. So, if I had to put money now, they find a way, as long as they don't have to play Minnesota. That's my qualifier. If they don't play Minnesota, I'm taking the Saints to get to the Super Bowl. And then, as good as the Steelers have been, and they're my childhood team, man, I love the Steelers. I still get, nervous when I bump in I bumped into Mel Blount a couple years ago, and it's in a hotel lobby, and I'm walking with Trey Wingo, and I'm like, hey, man, that's Mel Blount. And, and I'm just like, oh, and I'm thinking all the way walking through the lobby, how am I going to approach him? Am I going to say hi? What, introduce myself? What am I going to do? And because that was my childhood team, man. I love Mel Blount. And so I walk up, and as I'm walking by, I'm just like, I'm not going to say it. I got nervous, right? And Mel Blount goes, hey, Mark, how are you? And I acted cool, Pat. I was like, hey, what's up, Mel, man? Good to see you, brother. That type of thing. And in my heart, I was like, Mel Blount knows my name. I was excited.
So you like the Steelers or not? You like the Steelers to make it against the Saints, you think?
No, I'm going to go with the unicorn that is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that guy, I think he's got an ice cream stand. He poops orange sherbet, and he just sells it on the street. The guy he's a unicorn. He's unbelievable.
All right, we have a hard out here in about a minute. So I need this question's from AJ Hawk, so I need your quick answer here.
Okay.
Best offensive lineman in the NFL right now.
Oh gosh. Trent Williams, San Francisco.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, multi-Super Bowl champ commentator, electric, handsome man, Mark Schler. Thank you, Mark.
You got it.
Appreciate you, Stink. All right, this incredible Wednesday, December 2nd is wrapping up. I would be remiss if I didn't say rest in peace to Pat Patterson, a man who I am not a part of the WWE family. I'm just a guest that shows up at some family functions who was always very, very nice to me. Absolute legend of a man passed away today. Rest in peace to Patrick Patterson. Tonight, NXT is on at 8 o'clock USA Network. I assume there'll be a tribute on there. Well, a very big thanks to WWE for being so hospitable for us down here. I'll be down here again tomorrow. We got big guests coming tomorrow's show. All the boys back in Indy, great work back there. Zito, way to handle some things that have been going on. To all the people that listen and watch every single day, you're the best humans on earth. Chris Mad Dog Russo is next with Mad Dog Unleashed. His show will be a lot better than ours, I promise you that. SiriusXM is the best platform going right now. From all of us, all of you, have an incredible Wednesday. I have the RG3 over in pass yards. I hope you enjoy the hell out of the NFL game. Chris Mad Dog Russo is next. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, SiriusXM, Channel 82. I waited until it was over. Boys.
Pat.
How we doing?
Go around the room here. What do you guys got for bets, real quick, just so we can get these in for tonight's or for a game that's happening in 40 minutes or whatever.
Everyone knows I refrain. I will not bet on
Come
this.
on.
So go ahead.
All right, bet earlier. You sold us.
I got 2 going tonight. I got the Bob Griffin over. Chase Claypool over 49.5. And then Gus Edwards anytime touchdown. Those parlayed. And then I also have the over 26.5 points for the Steelers. Steelers money line. Benny Snell touchdown.
Okay, that's a lot of really good-looking bets and good-sounding bets there. The Steelers over-under is 26.5. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. So they just need, 4 scores? Come on.
4 scores and 7 years ago.
Whoa.
COVID did not exist. But now, 4 scores and today, we got a game at 3:40. Ty, what do you like about this game tonight?
I also like Bob Griffin triple sticks is over for passing yards, and I haven't looked at it yet, but I may sprinkle a Bob Griffin first touchdown score as well.
Wow, you think old triple sticks is going to get loose potentially?
Yeah, the triple sticks of old. I think we might see flashes of them in early in the game today. What is it? Plus 1,800. That's pretty juicy.
That is a very good odds over there at FanDuel. Shout out to FanDuel, by the way, for being everything that they are. Gumpy, what are you going with back there?
I got one. You're going to have to lay the juice on. Triple sticks to throw an interception, minus 180. And we've been down this road before, Pat.
180. Why are you rooting against the guy? I mean, come on, Gump.
Hey, we've been down this road before, Pat, and I'll take the same stance I took before. Give me the Steelers minus 10.5. I stand with the Shield. Ravens are scumbags.
All right, I'm going with Steelers minus 10.5. Lock it in. I think it's minus 10. Is it minus 10 or minus 10.5 right now?
10.5 now.
Oh, jeez.
No, but when I put this in,
You got it. Yeah, it was 10 when you got it in.
Well, and then I even bought the hook 9.5. So I'm going Steelers minus 9.5. Okay, and that's going to in RG3 over the 160 yards or whatever they're saying he's going to throw for. So. Hopefully he'll be able to pull that off. I mean, we'll see how that 165 or whatever. Foxy, you have any picks or no?
Yeah, am I live right now?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm a sucker for the super boosts as always. Of course. So the Steelers to win by plus 14.
Can you maybe get in front of the camera too? I mean, it is literally right here.
What's your deal, dude?
Can you guys hear Foxy back there?
Barely.
Quit being a
That's because his
Patricia.
microphone isn't even near his
How's the
face.
sound now?
There we go.
Wow. All right, here we go. I'm a sucker for super boosts. As I was saying, on FanDuel, you can get Steelers to win by 14. The odds are at plus 140. And also, I love this one even more. Bob Griffin triple sticks rushing yards over 25.5.
That's a juicy one.
Lock that one in.
That's a juicy one. Thank you, Foxy. That was really, you did well right there, man.
I just want to know, are all you guys high?
Where do you think this offense is coming from, Baltimore? They're missing 2 offensive linemen. Mark Andrews is out. Willie Snead's out. They got nothing.
Des Bryant and triple sticks, my friend.
Well, have you ever heard of nostalgia, Nick? You know, sometimes on a Wednesday afternoon at 3:40, 2 guys that used to be great can kind of come together and make something happen. I am out on the one. I didn't know there was 2 offensive linemen out and other people out. I am out on the 165.5 over thing. Okay,
long snappers.
I am out on that. Okay, but the over 25.5, is that what it is? Yes. I'm with the over 25.5 rushing yards. Take away my over 165.5 throwing. I'm over on the 25.5 because that can happen on one run, by the way.
Exactly.
We can be all the way into the fourth quarter, and that thing could pop off when the Steelers are up 20 and they kind of relax a little bit, and triple six is running for his life. So I'm over on that bet. I like that one a lot, and I like the Steelers minus 10.5. Nick, thank you for that little piece of information there at the end. That really helped out a lot.
You're welcome. I figured you would like to know that. I figured you needed that.
Well, yeah, and by the way, whenever you ask if we're all high, I mean, is there something to you, but
Well, there's a lot of optimism. I understand Bob Griffin Triple Sticks is going to put on a show, but I think you guys are wrong in the type of show he's going to put on. I'm with Gumpy with that 180 on the interceptions. Hell yeah.
So we're in a room down here that is like, I think, a boardroom, a former boardroom that they no longer use.
Ooh.
And I think we're going to have this whole place to ourselves to watch the game, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Here we go.
Hey.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That's pretty nice.
They got cable in there?
No, we'll have to do the.
You need a login?
Yeah, we'll have to do the stream thing. The
Good internet, so we're good.
The AirPlay thing where we'll send on this thing here.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Zito, how you feeling? You feel like you had a good couple of days here? I think you've done well. I mean, you put that one tweet up that was maybe 7 minutes late earlier, but aside from that, I feel like you've had a really good couple of days here. I'm impressed, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I did not read the tweet. I just put it up. That's on me. I should have definitely read it. They all look the same. They're a dark box. Rectangle, actually.
Connor, let's revisit your fuck up of the day, too.
Oh, Jesus.
What happened there? I mean, how did we?
Do you want to know what happened, actually? Do you want to know what happened?
Yeah, what
that
happened?
Kid comes on, right, asks his question. So while you're talking, I'm just thinking in my head about a question to ask you. My question was Antonio Brown being added to the offense?
We don't care.
I know.
Well, your question was from 2 hours
I'm
ago.
just
This is you
telling
doing the same thing that we did. Like,
I'm telling you what was going on in my head. I'm just telling you.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
But have the Buccaneers stunk since Antonio Brown got there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shocker.
No, I don't like F for AB. He doesn't deserve that, dude. Well,
Too
actually,
many weapons. Brady's spread too thin.
You know, in those moments wherever he needs a play and everything else is sucking, though, he goes right to Gronk. Right to AB, by the way. He just goes, well. And I wonder if he's like calling plays in the huddle or whatever to the boys, and he's looking at Gronk, and he goes with a New England call. And then he goes to AB, he goes, you remember what we did? Yep, okay, that's what we're going to do. Everybody else, yeah, just do whatever the fuck you want. Just said, all right, everybody enjoy this Wednesday afternoon NFL football. NXT tonight, 8 o'clock. I have no idea if I'm going to be on the show or not. I have no clue. By the way, that might be dependent upon the physical that I have. Hopefully this thing's not bad, dude. Is this where your heart is? Where's your heart at? Right in the middle, right?
Yeah, right in the middle.
Right at the B.
More to the left side.
No, I don't think
It's
so. I
common
think that
myth.
was debunked.
Yeah, it's right in the middle.
I'm just telling you where all my fucking pain comes from. So,
So it's like left to center right here?
Just left of your center.
Because they had these things on my whole. I mean, I had
ink on my whole body.
the whole thing. Hopefully, I'm okay. I mean, you don't really think that you're dying until you start getting tested for if you're dying.
do you run on the treadmill with the sensors on?
No, the with the mask on and everything, like it's a Gatorade commercial.
Go shot.
Yeah, no, we didn't get that far, thank God. I would have probably failed that one if I had to guess.
Put some vitamins in that thing, though.
Hey, am I allowed to? You think I'm allowed to smoke some vitamins before this? Slows the heart down a little bit, I think. Sir, you should not be smoking. Well, that's what you say, obviously. But I have some research that says differently, and that's my entire life. So, hey, how about, by the way, big numbers show today? I bust out some percentages. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
I thought about that last night, too, while I was laying in bed. I'm like, we're the only ones that are really wishing that everybody, survives these COVID cases. Everybody's talking about the games and who's on the roster and are people forfeiting. And I was like, what about survival? And then I said to myself, the reason why, that was a big yawn. The reason why, I tried to eat that yawn, by the way, because I didn't want to, do the whole thing. But the reason why nobody talks about it is because the survival rate of NFL players and college football players is at 100% right now.
Yep.
So,
Pretty good.
How come that never gets talked about?
Because no one wants to talk about the denominator, Pat.
Your mic got muted one time today already.
Just telling you.
Jason McAfee from the back, off the top rope. Ying on Connor. All right, you boys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, Ty, big guest tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, huge guest tomorrow. I mean, once again, we say it every week. You didn't think we'd be able to top yesterday, Monday, and today, but we found out how to do it again tomorrow.
Swallowing a yawn. I thought you were going to go a little bit longer.
Nah.
All right, that's the show. I'm probably going to take a nap right there for the next about 35 minutes and then opening kickoff Ravens Steelers. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll overreact to that. Big time guest, good conversation. 1-888-MAD Dog 6. Cannot wait to chat with all you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. You're the best humans on earth. That's the show. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.